moment.
The one right in front of the goal.
Yes.
Are you talking about the cutback?
Yes.
He was well in front of the goal.
That he needs to let that go.
Sure.
That's between the ears. That's
in hindsight, sure. But you're talking about one of the greatest goal scorers in the history of the game.
Facts.
Nutella ice cream makes us a spoonful happier.
'Cause you give me the
Discover the
best decision because of the angle that he was approaching that ball would be to let it go for Bruno Fernandes. But I also can't fault him because he's selfish for that reason.
taken the shot, Charlie.
Yeah, because he's telling you straight as a forward, he knows. At the end of the day, once he gets to the box, that's my job. That's my turn to shine. That's my turn to show value as to why they've turned around and selected me. So I understand as to what his mentality was. But I also will question mark, and none of us are on the pitch, so I couldn't hear it. If we were there, pitch side, I would have told you. But did Bruno scream for the ball? And that's the question mark you have to ask yourself. If the rest of these players are going to... If he screamed for the ball, then Cristiano's wrong, right? And Cristiano has to hold his hands up in that position and say he's wrong. But if Bruno Fernandes didn't turn around and scream and say Bruno's incoming or whatever else it is in terms of communication, then how am I supposed to know you're there?
I do have there's lots of comments. People are loving this conversation. One comment is saying that it is Ronaldo's fault. He has Bruno Fernandes, Nuno Mendes and others to supply him and refuses to run.
Refuses to run? He's 41 years old. So you know if you're selecting a 41-year-old, if I put LeBron James on the floor, am I expecting LeBron James to go up and down like this? Am I expecting Tiger Woods to be as consistent as ever? Am I expecting Rafael Nadal, if he was still playing today, to be running up and down the clay? No. What happens with these level of athletes is they start thinking the game higher than everybody else. So you have to put people around him that's going to do the physicality.
And that's why I've said it was Roberto Martinez's
fault. It's Roberto Martinez's fault.
Because if you decide to play Cristiano, you also have to know he's not making those runs. He's not doing what Harry Kane does. He's not dropping down into the midfield to create space. He's your exclamation point. So you have to provide service to get the best out of Cristiano Ronaldo. And if the service is too predictable, which it was, it's very easy for the Congolese defenders to say, hey, go ahead. We know what's coming. We have our two guys here to mark Cristiano. He wasn't moving outside of a 5-yard radius. So it's easy to defend versus late runs out of midfield. Nuno Mendes and Cancelo coming inside, generating different types of chances, shots from distance. It was a poor attacking performance.
I know you really want to go to break, and I promise you I'll shut up at another segment so you can get your 30 seconds back. But I will just tell you this. You don't score 140 goals for your nation unless you know how to find the back of the net.
Yeah.
End of discussion. So at the end of the day, I need a manager that's going to be able to put him in a position where he can be successful so he can do his job. Because his only job when he goes on that pitch is to score goals. That's the rest of it. We'll work it out, man. We'll work it out.
Can we just give a quick little love to DR Congo, though, for being able to get this job done?
Huge for them. I mean, it's awesome. Great performance.
No question marks whatsoever. I already knew.
My former teammate is Cedric Bakambu, and to see him still running the channels and you know, leading his country, him and Johan Visa make a great partnership up top. It's phenomenal. So I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of Congo, how they've represented the
massive
There's
result.
no shock, though. If you watch them in AFCON, if you watch them recently over the last couple of years, they've been one of the best defensive teams in world football. So that didn't shock me that they had that level of efficiency and were that solid together.
They played like they deserved to win.
And Johan Vissa's been waiting for a moment because he's been injured and so inconsistent all year. He's been waiting for a moment to remind the world that I'm still one of the best number 9s out here. So yeah.
Morocco need a victory to leapfrog Scotland at the top of the group. They will expect to do so. But you never know, there have been a few shocks already in this wonderful competition. Can Scotland provide another? Whether it be with a draw or even a victory, who knows? We are underway. It's Morocco kicking us off, and immediately the ball played out to their left-hand side. It's gathered by Patterson, who knocks it back to Angus Gunn. Gunn takes a touch and then knocks it down the right-hand side. It's out of play. And the all-important question, Pat and Evan, has been a lot of debate about how Scotland will line up. And it does look as though Scotland are going with the four at the back, but you're a man who knows more about tactics than me, so you take it away.
I think it looks like almost a 4-5-1 or a 4-4-1-1 with McTominay. You know, going a little bit further into midfield, and he's going to stick on Buadi. You know, we talked a lot about it before the game on Radio 5 Live, and talk about how great Buadi is. Well, he's going to have to be some player if it's him man against Scott McTominay, because he can play a bit and he can run. So we shall see if that's what pans out. But left-hand side, certainly it looks like Tierney's a bit further forward than Andy Robertson.
Yes, it does. Yeah, there was much debate about whether he would occupy that position. That's exactly where he is right now. But Morocco try and come forward early on, and they look like they're beating the offside trap. And there's an effort at goal, and it's lashed in, and the goal is going to stand, according to the assistant referee. It's Saibari once again from a tight angle. Morocco, inside the opening moments of this match, look like they've gone in front. We will wait the VAR decision in terms of whether it was offside, but Saibari picking up where he left off with a fabulous goal against Brazil, and I think he might well have trumped that with a finish here on the right-hand side. And Scotland, within 90 seconds in the Boston Stadium, fall behind 1-0 Morocco.
And he's well onside. The times are on absolutely perfectly. The goalkeeper's got it. It's a hard angle, but it's popped up on the bobble for him. And sometimes when it happens like that, you catch it so clean. And let's be fair, Sabari, he has lashed that into the top corner there. Do you know the thing about international football, particularly World Cup football? You can spend days, weeks, months, years making a plan, and then it has to change in 5 minutes. Well, Scotland are going to have to change it now, or adapt it, or make sure they do it better.
It's the worst possible start for the Scots, but absolute delight among the Moroccan fans in and around us, jumping with glee as Saibari went to celebrate his second goal of the tournament. And Scotland with an uphill battle already on their hands. The offside trap didn't work, and Saibari was the man who capitalised to the fullest.
It's very early, Al, right? But I have to say, I cannot believe we played with back four. If you play a back three, there's no space to run into there. He's run into where the third centre-back would be on the left-hand side. And I was completely and utterly convinced that we would do that. And as we speak, he's just run into the same position again. It looked as if he was onside again. See, I'm quite taken aback by that. It's so far, we're only 3 minutes in. That's not particularly worked very well, has it?
No, far from ideal for Scotland. Morocco leading by a goal to nil. Goal coming within 90 seconds from Ismail Saibari of PSV. Sounds like he's on his way to Bayern Munich, though, and with the finishing he's shown so far in this competition, it's easy to see why the German giants are keen to take him to Munich. It's Morocco bossing possession in these early stages. Scotland trying to get close to them. It's McTominay trying to close down, but Morocco still in possession, provisionally now 6th in the world rankings. They leapfrogged Portugal as a result of the opening draw against Brazil.
It's very interesting. It was on tactical things. It was really quite taken aback by. They're like a back four on the Moroccans, but quite often that man we were talking about before, Buadi, he goes and sits back almost with one of the centre backs, and you think, well, where's the right back, Hakimi? I'll tell you where he is. He's everywhere. He's all over the place. He's almost as if he's got a free range to do and go wherever he wants to go. And it's really confused Scotland. He is currently, Hakimi, playing centre forward.
Yes, it's incredible. Yeah, he's right up against Jack Hendry.
Extraordinary tactics to get your head round if you're Scotland.
Morocco still have the ball at the back. It's Diop playing it square for Riyadh, two very experienced Premier League players. Scotland picked up possession in a good area. Got a cut back there from Adams. Forward he comes. McGinn trying to find Adams again. There's a Scotland player down. He was taken out of play as that move began to progress. The referee probably rightly played advantage that hasn't really accrued in the end. And Morocco pick up once more. They're coming down the left-hand side. It's Unai infield to El Khanous, who comes in off the left, looking to build. It's Brahim Diaz of Real Madrid who played that wonderful pass for Saibari to open the scoring against Brazil. Slowing it down now, Morocco. Certainly seeing a lot more of the ball in these opening exchanges, and they've got the opening goal. They've only played 5.5 minutes. Scotland looking for an historic result to take them through to the knockout stages. Morocco got to the semi-finals last time out, and Steve Clarke reckons they're a better team now. Certainly if you look at the results over the last 2.5 years, their only defeat, and that's an inverted commas defeat, because it came in the African Nations Cup final to Senegal, but most of you will know that that was then overturned, and Morocco declared champions of Africa because of Senegal leaving the field without permission. That is subject of an appeal, but here comes Scotland. It's Kearney trying to feed it in, looking for Adams, headed away, but only as far as Ryan Christie inside the penalty area, tries to squeeze it through the legs of Riyadh, doesn't quite come off. Picked up by El Khanous, goes back to his goalkeeper Bunu. The 35-year-old clears, headed back towards the Moroccan penalty area by Hanley, and then a wayward header on the Scots' head, and out of play on this near side for a Moroccan throw-in as their manager makes his way to the edge of the technical area. Mohamed Wabi, 49-year-old, born in Belgium. He looks pretty cool down there with his side in charge in these early stages here. Almost 7 minutes played. It's Scotland 0, Morocco 1. Scotland have had a couple of surges forward though, Pat. There are signs that they can get forward, but it will be on the counter-attack, it appears.
Absolutely, and it's gone from the left-hand side, and we were talking earlier on if it's a back four or a back five. If you watch what Tierney's having to do with Hakimi, it's a back five. He's having to spend so much his time defending back there. If that's the player he's running with, and that's the player he's supposed to be taking care of, you'll end up having to go all the way back unless you hand him on in the right time. But that's where problems happen, when you have to hand players on.
Morocco have it, but 10 yards inside the Scots half. Clip forward, looking for Saibari once more. That time Hendry got his head to it, played forward to the halfway line. Adams, poor first touch, and Morocco have it back once more, and they're attacking that Scots penalty area. A little clip there on Saibari, and then the ball forward. It's too much on it. Scotland will get the goal kick. We've played 8 minutes inside the Boston Stadium, and already Scotland trail with Ismail Saibari's opening goal with inside a couple of minutes. Scotland 0, Morocco 1.
Yeah, look, we got a little bit hung up with the systems, etc. beforehand and the way it's going, and it obviously we found out a little bit at the start. But in the end, the fact that there's such fluidity to the Moroccans, you know, there's such total football that they're playing just now with players able to go and play in all sorts of different positions. So hard to line up against that, incredibly hard. At the moment, you see a couple of breaks on the left-hand side from Scotland, but it's maybe been one decent one where Andy Robertson and alongside Tierney flew down the left wing a little bit. But apart from that, you look at the comfort in the ball. Moroccans are way ahead at the moment, aren't they? They're just really comfortable in the ball. They feel as if they own this game.
A little bit more than half of the pitch is shaded from a sun which is not as hot as it was 6 days ago, even though it's an earlier kick-off. But certainly up here in the Gorge it feels relatively cool, but I gather at pitch level it still feels pretty intensely hot, as McTominay does well to win the ball over in the far side in an advanced position. He goes back the way to Robertson. Robertson back over the halfway line into his own half for Hendry. He'll turn it all the way inside to Grant Hanley. Midway inside his own territory. He's at square once more for Jack Hendry, just outside his penalty area now. Hanley again, and back to Hendry again as the Moroccan fans are those who are in better mood after the opening 9.5 minutes of this game. They know that they will go top with a victory. With Brazil, of course, up against Haiti later in the game. Morocco have won it back. Christie thought he was fouled. It's a promising position here. Unai feeds it in. Big chance here, and it's just behind the player coming into the back post. And fortunately for Scotland, it drifts behind for a goal kick, as neither Saibari nor Unai could get there, and Scotland have a big let-off as it remains Scotland 0, Morocco 1.
But that all came from the fact that Ryan Christie had the ball and he had the back to the player, right? And he had the lightest of nudges, but he's gone down. And to be fair, most referees, particularly in Premier League, give you a free kick there. That's not happening in this World Cup.
It's not, yeah.
It's absolutely not happening. So you know, it's a good idea. Try and be John McGinn. Stay on your feet and roll people if you can.
Again, gets a flick on at the edge of the Moroccan area, but no teammate there to gather. Now it comes back up towards Tierney. Christie battling away but losing out. Morocco have it. They're under pressure though. And it's Christie who's trying to win it back, but again the break of the ball goes the way of the African champions, and forward they come again down the left-hand side, led by their goal scorer Saibari. Good ball infield. Chance here for El Kanous. Tries to feed it into the penalty area. There's a Scotland body in the way. Shea Adams getting back there to do the defending. Gets it half clear. Picked up by Saibari. Another good ball into the box. Unai trying to wriggle his way through. Comes off a Scotland leg. Nathan Patterson just forcing it behind. It's going to be a Moroccan corner. 11 minutes in, Scotland 0, 81.
Panic stations in that Scotland defence there, wasn't it? Everyone trying to get back. Shea Adams getting in each other's way there. Didn't get decent enough clearance, but that's a couple of times when the ball's been put in there. When Scotland, in past times, you know, comfortable in those areas, know where each other are. They're at 6s and 7s at the moment.
Morocco won clearly rather than Haiti, of course. As Morocco have looked a very impressive side in these early stages. They've got that opening goal as Unai picks up left-hand side. He's got incredibly Hakimi on his overlap on that left wing. He really does, as Pat's been saying, pop up absolutely everywhere. Licence to roam.
I want to see a touch map of him, or a movement map of where he is. Because I think there's 3 of them on the fixture just now, because he's supposed to be a right back. He now and again visits the right back area. Rarely, but now and again. But that's just his starting point to basically maraud anywhere in the pitch. And he's so hard to pick up. He is a spectacularly good player.
I have to say that the Brazil equaliser came from that position. Vinicius Junior picking up in the Moroccan right back role, and he was nowhere to be seen. I mean, of course, Vinny Junior doesn't need too many invitations to cut inside and whip the ball into the back of the net. It was exactly what he did. But I guess what Hakimi offers going forward, you kind of have to afford him that luxury at times.
I mean, it's interesting what they're doing. Is, you know, just like I said at the start, when Hakimi goes, Buadi just steps back and you still got a 4. It's actually perfectly fine. It's perfectly easy. Diop moves over to the right back. They know what they're doing. It's not really that complicated to cover that area. But you need to have players who understand it. They've worked on it. They've worked together as a group for a good long time. You're talking about them at the World Cup. I was at almost every single game they played at that World Cup, and they were doing complex things like that. But they look more sophisticated and more controlled about it now.
Yeah, they replaced their manager after that African Cup of Nations campaign, even though Walid Regragui, the previous boss, had led them to that last 4th place in the World Cup. But it seemed like the fans and the FA wanted a more attacking brand, a more exciting brand of football, and certainly what we're seeing from Mohamed Wabi's side is exactly that, as they lead here in the Boston Stadium by a 1-0. Saibari with the early opener against Scotland here in Boston. All is not lost by any means for the Scots, as Wadi picks up and then plays it out to the left-hand side. Riyad, and then El Kanous from Leicester, but he was on loan at Stuttgart last year, scored a couple of goals against Celtic in the Europa League. Very promising player on that left-hand side. Morocco again just get comfortable possession midway inside their own half. Not quite a quarter of an hour played. You can hear the noise coming from the Moroccan fans right now. They are thoroughly enjoying themselves. Probably unfortunate not to beat Brazil, certainly from what I saw in the first half, particularly the more dangerous looking side, and they are going to You're going to go far in this tournament by the looks of it, as Boadi again picks up. The Tartan Army try to respond with a rendition of Flower of Scotland, looking to lift their side. It's not that Scotland have necessarily started poorly here, Pat. They just barely getting on the ball, and Morocco have been so impressive.
Classic. You can't tell who Scotland are playing because they've not got the ball. And that's true. Absolutely spot on. The comfort of the ball, the control of the game, as I say, the fluidity they've got in their play. They are a very, very special looking team, but they're not unbeatable, and you can get past them. The problem with Scotland is they haven't quite got a foothold in the game. We're 15 minutes in. There hasn't been a long passage of play where Scotland have held the ball and they're giving it away again.
It's a dreadful pass from McTominay. He's got really lucky. Christie's managed to keep possession. Now it's McGinn coming forward, back into McTominay just inside the Moroccan half, and now out to the left-hand side for Tierney. Comes back over the halfway line to Robertson. Robertson's got a bit of time and space to measure his options. Fabulous diagonal out to Patterson on this right-hand side. Back in field to Christie. Patterson once again tries a more difficult ball. It comes off Christie, and now Morocco pick up once more. It was the wrong choice of pass from Patterson. I think he wanted to be positive, Pat, in fairness to him, but probably the sensible ball was just to come back to his defence once again, and he lost it.
Do you know when you're in this position, what are you trying to do? Okay, if you have to keep it at the back, you know, go back, hold it, give yourself 30, 40, 50 seconds worth of possession, and everyone gets a little bit of confidence, a little bit of lift out of that. We've not managed to do that. McTominay gave the ball away just about 30 seconds, 40 seconds ago. Then Patterson gave the ball away. Yeah, you want to be positive-minded, but you give the ball away against a team like this, you ain't getting it back for 3 or 4 minutes, and that's hard. So we have to work ourselves back into the game.
65% of possession we're seeing on our screens in front of us has been in favour of Morocco. As Scotland will pick up a loose ball, and it's played in field to Christie. He's playing that role that he tends to do for Bournemouth these days, the sitting midfield role, as McGinn then walks out to the right-hand side to Patterson. He'll try and come forward. Well challenged by El Khanous, and not only does he make the tackle, but he also plays it off Patterson, and he's punching the air in delight, and the Moroccan fans just in front of him there down at the touchline, absolutely delighted by that.
Yeah, Patterson getting forward a little bit, and that's probably why he's in the teams. Not always noted for being, you know, a full-back that stays behind. He gets forward when he can, he overlaps when he can.
He's not played a lot of football, and he's lost out in a duel there once again, this time to El Khanous. Hickey probably didn't have his best game in a Scotland shirt against Haiti, and like Patterson, hasn't played a massive amount of football this season. As here comes Hakimi into the penalty area. He's almost round Gunn. Gunn gets a really important touch to get the better of Hanley, who looked to be in charge of the situation. Hakimi stayed down, but Gunn actually gets a crucial touch in that. Otherwise, it could easily have been 2-0 to Morocco.
And 2-0 from exactly the same position between the full-back and the centre-back. They've clearly done that. They've clearly worked on that and thought, if they play a back four, Scotland play a back four, we're going to go to that position. We're going to put it in there, and we've got quality players that will run into that area.
Thoughts there of Pat Nevin when you listen to live coverage of Scotland against Morocco on BBC Radio Scotland and BBC Radio 5 Live, as the decision goes against the Scots in the middle of the park. The Tartan Army, as you can hear, didn't like it. I don't think Pat Nevin liked it either.
Liked it? I have no idea what's going on with the next. I didn't see a handball at all. Having said that, the referee's about 150 yards closer than we are, so I might have to give him the benefit of the doubt in that one.
Yeah, binoculars wouldn't go amiss, would they, from this position? It's a wonderful position, isn't it? Because you can see tactically, you know, what's happening and things like that. But there are occasions you even might not spot an odd handball or something. So yeah, we'll give the referee the benefit of the doubt there, as Diop plays it out to the right-hand side to that man Hakimi, who's double Champions League winner now with PSG. And that star-studded lineup. Diop once more of Fulham, starting once again at the heart of the defence. Picked up in the midfield there by Unahi, and clipped forward again, looking for the run of Hakimi. It's knocked out a play over on the far side by Tierney, who's got probably the least enviable job in the pitch, Pat. Almost a man-marking job in Hakimi.
Well, he's not always getting him. Robertson's got him some of the time. But when he's not got him, he's got Brahim Diaz. And that's not easy either. So he's got, I mean, Diaz fabulously good on that right-hand side. It's no surprise that the goal came down that side. And also, you know, the opportunities, 2 of the opportunities have come down that side as well. They are very, very quick, but they're technically good as well.
Corner kick to Morocco, right-hand side, to be taken by Ashraf Hakimi into the near post. It's over McTominay. It was Hanley got his head to it. He's headed it behind once again for another corner kick, again over on the right-hand side, which Hakimi will try again. Slight outswinger with the right foot from that right flank of Morocco. Scotland desperately looking to avoid conceding a second in these early stages. In it comes. McTominay gets his head to it this time. Comes out to Boadi, who strikes it only off Christie, but it will ricochet out to Hakimi, right hand side. Plenty of time to measure across. Well, he might have been going for a goal there against Angus Gunn, slightly off his line, but Gunn able to gather. Just going back to the goal, actually, Pat, when it bounced up quite kindly for Saibari on that right hand side, does he kind of give Gunn the eyes as if to say, I'm going to put this into the middle, and then he just lashes it in almost at his near post?
There's a possibility of that, but when the ball bounces up like that, you just want to catch it clean and with power. And if you catch it clean with a power and you don't hit the keeper, it's in the net. So it's one of those ones, you get it on target with pure power when it bounces up like that, and the chances are, even if it hits the keeper's hand, it'll bend his hand backwards. You know, he's roofed that, and the only thing that could have stopped that ball in the net is had it hit Gunn straight in the face.
Here's Saibari's 11th goal for his country, and it has Morocco in the lead here with 21 minutes on the clock. Maybe Scotland have just slightly weathered the storm. I don't want to speak too soon here, but hasn't been too much more for Gunn to do since.
Well, they're not been closed down quite the same now, but I think Morocco are a good enough team to take it. You know, let's not chase it for 90 minutes. We don't need to. We'll decide when we start closing down or pressing high up the field. And they'll let Scotland get a wee bit of the ball back here. But it's if Scotland can actually make progress through the thirds of the field while they've got the ball, we shall see. So far, not really. But, you know, it's early in the game.
Robertson out to Tierney just inside his own half. Back to Robertson again. And infield to Hendry. Midway inside his own half. Approaching the midway point in this first period, and we'll get the hydration break. As Robertson has it once more, still well inside his own territory, just turns it back again to Hendry. The Tartan Army have gone a little bit quiet just for the moment as it's played out to Patterson on this right hand side. He clips it forward looking for Adams, and Scotland have got the free kick as he was fouled off the ball there, and Jock given a yellow card for the challenge on Adams. The Scotland player's actually making a point where he was the last man. I'm not sure you could say it's an obvious goal scoring opportunity, could you?
To be fair, he's taking a chance to up there. I mean, he's dragged him back. He's lovely movement by Che Adams. It's a classic old one. You go long, then go short, then go long again. But that time, Diop's lost him. He's just pulled him back. Now, there is a question whether he'd have reached it. Maybe the keeper would have got it. But notice the word maybe. He's done a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence there, because had he got on the end of the ball, that's 1-on-1 with the keeper. So, definite yellow card, edging towards red.
Yeah, well, VAR will be having a check of it without a doubt. But looks like Scotland do have the free kick. It's not a hugely threatening position, but they can try and create something from it. Central area just outside the centre circle to be taken here by Lewis Ferguson, just right of centre. Scotland get plenty of bodies forward, certainly. The centre backs have been thrown up, it's clipped out to the left hand side, helped back into the middle. Scotland can't get anyone on it when it's played back into a central area, so Ferguson will have to pick up possession once more and then go back to Angus Gunn midway inside his own half. The Nottingham Forest keeper, who played just once for Forest this season, it's blighted out to the left hand side. The referee spots an infringement by Kieran Tierney, and that is a cue for the hydration break. See, Pep Guardiola is in attendance here in Boston, wondering what his next gig is going to be as the players make their way off, but it gives us an opportunity to bring in another of our colleagues here, former Scotland international Leanne Crichton, who's been keeping a close eye on proceedings earlier. Leanne, Scotland couldn't have really got off to a worse start. What have you made of things since then?
No, a really poor start, Al. The worst possible start in the game. Everything that you plan to avoid, everything that your team talk would have entailed is out the window after a couple of minutes. It's taken Scotland a fair bit of time to get to grips with the game. I agree with Pat for the most part in terms of the role Hakimi's playing all over the pitch. It's so difficult to understand where he's going to be, but actually I don't know if Scotland needed to get caught up in a man-marking type job that's happened for Kieran Tierney. He was caught so many times in terms of whether to stick or twist. Do you follow him to the complete opposite side of the pitch? Do you stay? Do you pass him on? Do you track him? And part of the problem even early on with the goal, why Scotland are trying to play offside so early on in the game, why you're not just focusing on tracking runners and getting into that rhythm of defending. This was never going to be an easy night. It was always going to be tough against a really top opponent. It feels now we've maybe weathered the storm for a little bit, but we need to make a change here just now in terms of the structure, whatever that looks like during this water break. Is it going to be freeing up Kieran Tierney and just more focusing on becoming part of a back five that stays as a back five? Because surely he cannot be expected to chase Hakimi about this pitch. You cannot come to the World Cup and have a player man-marking a guy that's playing right full-back 1 minute and left wing the next. Scotland need to do much better in possession, and I said that after the game the other night. I still think our ball quality is really poor. I don't think our sixes are doing enough to go and take the balls off our back line and alleviate pressure, and when we get middle to front it's far too frenetic. It looks like we're making it up, and again I don't think you can come to a World Cup and look like you're making it up. There has to be more clear patterns of play and structured patterns to allow you to get higher numbers up towards the penalty area, because right now we're sitting with sixes and sevens behind the ball when we do have it.
We can see on our monitors here, Pat, Steve Clarke having a fairly serious word with his players down there. What do you think the gist of that will be?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's saying, look, it's been very difficult for you just now, but it wouldn't necessarily go at that pace the entirety of the time. So I think he'll be saying you have to allow an understanding that Hakimi's not playing where he's playing. So you must pass him on, you must talk to each other. Leanne makes the point about our sixes not holding the ball. Christie's a good player, Ferguson's a good player, but none of them are Billy Gilmour. And that's it with Billy. He can control games. We've not got anyone who can control games and hold the ball in these areas.
I just don't think at times, Pat, they look like they want to take the ball, though. They're almost jogging into a space square onto the centre-back. Even that wee bounce pass just allows you to bring the pressure, pop it round them, and you're away again, whereas it just looks to me really static.
And that's Billy Gilmour's game. So we're kind of missing Billy, although he is in the stadium today, we believe. But we have to deal with that, have to put up with it, and we shall see if Stevie Clarke's made any changes.
About to get back underway. Remember, 5 Live's coverage of every match in the group stage will continue after this one. Brazil-Haiti from Philadelphia is a 1:30 UK time kick-off, 8:30 here locally, and it'll be followed by Turkey against Paraguay from San Francisco. That is at 4 AM for all you night owls back there in the UK who want even more of a World Cup fix. We're back in action here. Scotland trailing by 1-0 against Morocco. The early strike coming from Ismail Saibari. And Scotland have really not troubled Yassine Bono at all in the Moroccan goal, as the Moroccans try and build from the back once more. It's Mazraoui of Man U again operating in that left back role, gets it back again from Unahi, and now Riyad picks up, plays it square for Diop.
It's actually just what I described a few moments ago. It's exactly what happened again. And watching Kieran Tierney, and he's trying to go with Hakimi, and he's passed him on. And the moment he's passed him on, Hakimi's saying, right, I'm between two, and he runs a different direction. And then both players are looking at each other and saying, who goes where? Who does what? He is a clever player.
Yeah, but Tierney's nicked it there. Couldn't quite find Shea Adams, who's ploughing that lone furrow through the middle. Goes back to Bono, out to the right-hand side for Diop. Just right of his penalty area, in the small part of the pitch which remains in the sunshine. It has dipped away behind us. Most of the stadium now in shadow, as Morocco still have it inside their own penalty area. It's back with Bono once more from Riyad, and then Diop will this time go long and over the top, and Hendry reads that and heads it forward once more, but it'll be picked up by a Moroccan jersey. And now Diaz of Real Madrid drives away from one Scotland challenge up towards the edge of the penalty. A little 1-2 with Saibari. Diaz just forced wide, but Robertson's up against him. Onto the left foot, lays it back the way, and it's over the top on that occasion, this time from El Ainaoui, midfielder. But Brahim Diaz, as Pat was saying, so dangerous coming in off that right-hand side. But it does remain Scotland 0, Morocco 1.
Well, the speed, the change from... They're on their 18-yard line, and it's in the blink of an eye. They've got up to what is almost a goal-scoring position there, and most of it was down to that man, Brahim Diaz, there. But the speed and the movement and the ability to run off players is pretty spectacular. They are one of those teams, Morocco, that are so good that they will decide when they go at full speed. They will understand as a unit when they have to dial it up a little bit, and boy, did they dial it up there. Really impressive to watch. And that was after one of Scotland's best pieces of possession of the game so far.
If you don't count that defeat in the AFCON final, which the authorities aren't at the moment, then you have to go back to January of 2024 for their last defeat. Came against South Africa. This is some team that Scotland are up against, and they trail by a goal to nil, the Scots. And certainly you have to say that Morocco are very much in charge of the game. Scotland barely getting a look in. John McGinn just closing down there. We barely mentioned him, Pat.
Yeah, it's been hard for him. He's had one opportunity to get the ball and turn with it, but he basically ran into traffic at that point in time. And John, I suppose that's why I kind of favour that 3-4-2-1, because John plays more central. Put John out in the wing and he can sometimes get left out of the game.
Here he is, but he's lost it. He goes down, he claims he was pulled, but now he charges forwards without a whistle. Now the whistle will come, and now he's just going into the back of Lewis Ferguson there as he covered for his teammate. But as you said earlier on, Pat, there's a couple of coming togethers which we've got used to being penalised in most leagues actually nowadays, but here at the World Cup it's actually quite refreshing, other than when it goes against the team you're trying to back. But otherwise it's quite refreshing to see contact not always being whistled against.
It's stunning how many times it happened in the game as covered the other day with the French playing the Senegalese, and there are certain players that they can't get their heads around it. They built their careers on waiting for a touch, then falling down in a crumpled heap and hardly being touched. So yeah, if you have to relearn that, well, that's a good thing. I agree with you completely.
Here's Scott McTominay as Scotland fans find their voice once again. The whistles coming from the Morocco fans with Scotland in possession here for a rather rare moment. McGinn plays it forward to Christian. Nice little turn away from his marker. Plays it out to the right-hand side to Patterson. Midway inside the Morocco half, back in field. Just a little bit heavy. Christie well challenged there by El Ainaoui, and then a couple of other bodies hit the deck off the ball as Saibari brings it forward on the left-hand side. Does well to keep possession. It's at back in field for El Kanous, and then it's Mazraoui joining in. Into the Scotland half they come. Brahim Diaz takes over, driving up towards the edge of the Scotland penalty area on the angle of the box right-hand side. Brings Boadi into play. He's further right. Back to Hakimi, then Boadi once more. Boadi, the 18-year-old wonder kid. We expect him to move on from Lille probably this summer, but it'll be a blockbuster fee required to take this teenager who's so much as thought of around Europe.
You can tell you only need to watch him for 10 minutes and you think, actually, he's 18 going on 29. Completely completely comfortable where he is. And it's a World Cup. He's that age, and he's dominating the game. He's dominating the midfield, and he knows where to go. He takes the ball comfortably, always knows what he's going to do with it, dragging players aside. He's just one of these people who has a very natural football brain.
Only recently signed up for Morocco, having converted from the French side that he represented up to under 21, but Morocco have won his heart, have won his name for competitive senior action, and he's representing them here again this evening. Scotland trailing by a goal to nil with about 11.5 minutes left of the opening 45. Morocco once again in possession at the back. It's Mazraoui just in off that left-hand side, plays it to Boadi, early ball out to Saibari, who's drifting away from that centre-forward spot out to the left-hand side. El Ainaoui gets a bit lucky there to get another touch. El Kanous squeezes it through for Mazraoui into the penalty area, left-hand side, cuts it back, and it was Tierney, I think, in the way of that one to just knock it out of play on this near side as Morocco threatened down the left-hand side on this occasion.
Exceptional play by Tierney. He saw where the danger was. He came all the way in for that far side there and made sure that He made the stop, and I think it might well have been that man Hakimi. He was sitting there waiting for a tap-in just beside the penalty spot. But Tierney did his job, stuck with him.
Blady just goes back the way over the halfway line to Diop, and now Riyad plays it into Roma's El Ainaoui, 24-year-olds, son of Moroccan tennis legend Younes El Ainaoui. Had to choose apparently between tennis and football as a child himself, did Neil. But the Moroccan national team delighted that he chose football as Blady switches play out to the left-hand side. Just a little bit too much on that for El Kanous as Steve Clark makes his way to the edge of the technical area. I guess the most Steve Clark can be happy or satisfied with so far, Pat, is that they're only one behind.
Yeah, one behind. That first 10-15 minutes was actually, I'll be honest with you, it was actually quite frightening. You just think, oh, this could be anything. This could be quite ugly if they can keep on playing at that rate. But they haven't been able to do that, and that's another one now given.
Yeah, McTominay's run into trouble, and there's a ball in for El Kanous. He's ballooned it over the top. That is a real opportunity as Morocco broken the counter once more. Scotland again claiming that there should have been a free kick gone in their favour. I just think McTominay's...
No, he's got that.
Yeah.
He's got that wrong, the referee.
Yeah, he's probably gone down. I was going to say McTominay a little bit clumsy in possession initially with his touch, but he is fouled subsequently,
he was taken out. The referee's just simply not spotted that one. I mean, it's a bit of a messy little bit of play there, but when the ball actually does break, he's allowed it to carry on. El Kanous, you'd expect better from him actually there. Yes, it's oddly enough, it's bobbled up just like the first goal. So it's a, it's a side foot. He's trying to do what you were suggesting a little bit earlier, try and give the eyes, try to volley it. In the end, when the ball bounces up like that, you keep it hard, you keep it on target, you don't worry about anything else. He didn't do that, and he ballooned it over the bar. Another little piece of relief for Scotland. And I suppose the concerning thing, to some degree, is for Scotland, is that there's not really been anything close to a half chance, has there? There's not been a shot on goal, nothing close to that. Though I would suggest to the listener, there is one thing. If Scotland can keep it to 1-0, there are options for Scotland late in the game. Gannon Doak, with his pace, can cause trouble to any players because of his pure pace. So, Scotland have done this before. They've played the rope-a-dope game where just hang on, and then have a go for the last 10 minutes. It's one of Stevie Clark's methods, so we shall see if that's where he goes.
El Ainaoui was off the field there, having been treated. But he's been allowed back on well before the minute. That's meant to be a minute, isn't it?
Exactly. Was that blood injury?
I mean, he went off. I think he was bleeding from the mouth, but I don't think that makes any difference to the amount of time he's meant to stay off. And he's just played the back heel here for Hakimi to race forward on the right-hand side, cuts into the penalty area, touches it back again for El Ainaoui. Hendry comes out to meet him. Still, it's the Roma midfielder and Morocco trying to get the ball into the box, trying to twist Hendry one way then the other, and he just rolls it back the way to the edge of the penalty area. Out once more to the right-hand side, low ball in, it's good challenge from Hanley to deny Hakimi, and then Scotland have played it out well from the back as McTominay now finds Tierney bursting forward.
Well, that's got to be a foul.
That is a free kick, and that should, in that situation, be a yellow card, because that is the definition of a promising attack being halted.
Yeah, and Kieran Tierney knew what he's doing there. He kind of ran across the player, and he got... I mean, to be honest, it's a bit of a joke that he's pushed him and then he's trying to run over the top of Kieran Tierney there. By the way, we've just seen a little replay there of a move down the right-hand side. Diaz is fabulous. He's absolutely brilliant. And his timing the little back heel takes two players out of the game, and Scotland were quite fortunate to get away with that one again. But then again, you've got to say Moroccans, they've had one yellow card. That could very, very easily, and probably should have been another one. So Scotland get a chance to break. They have been taken out of the play. So I think Stevie Clark would mention that. We're not going to get many breaks. So either give us a chance to book the player for not allowing it.
Now he's still playing with a sort of bloody rag in his mouth, which also didn't think would be allowed. With any blood on the pitch as Robertson swings a free kick in. It's just over Hanley. It will come to the back post to Hendry, who keeps it in with a poor touch. He's offside, is he? Offside. Was it? I'm not sure if that's an offside or a goal kick that they've given. I don't think it was either, to be quite honest with you, but the assistant referee signalled. I think he's given the goal kick, isn't he? No, maybe not. Bono. I mean, Hendry's nowhere near.
That is bizarre. He's actually, do you know this? What's happened? Assistant referee's got the wrong guy. The ball was played long and it eventually goes wider, and he's seen the wrong player offside. That was simply not offside. Got it wrong.
Really strange. 39.5 on the clock. Scotland 0, Morocco 1. You listen to live coverage on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland of Scotland at the World Cup, but they're losing here to Morocco. Goal came inside 90 seconds from Ismail Saibari, and Morocco, in all honesty, have boss proceedings ever since, and here they are coming forward once more. It's Azzedine Ounahi of Girona out to the right hand side. The boos now from the Scotland fans as Morocco look to build once more. It's Diaz and Hakimi just playing the ball between themselves over on the right flank. Diaz, I think the man is getting booed.
No, it's,
right now.
it's actually Hakimi. It's actually Hakimi again. Trust me.
Good footwork there almost from Ounahi, but he couldn't quite wriggle through the bundle of Scotland players. And here comes Scotland again. It's Christie who's looking for a man outside to his left. No one appeared.
Horrible feeling that when you're running up the wing and there's 4 players around you. You have absolutely nowhere to go. The only chance you've got there is hoping you can draw a foul off somebody, but the Moroccans didn't do that, and that's been part of Scotland's problem. When they have managed to break a little bit, they haven't been able to do so in numbers.
Yeah, Tierney was nowhere to be seen. He was sitting in a more defensive midfield position at that point, as Christie desperately needed him to join him on the left-hand side. We've got about 4 minutes left of the opening. Added on time as Boadi picks up as Morocco look for a second before half-time, and that would make it all the more difficult, obviously, for Scotland to take anything. The point that they so desperately need or desire from this game to take them through to the knockout stages. It's Saibari, the goal scorer, left-hand side. Can't squeeze the pass through, though. Scotland have picked up. McGinn under pressure here from Boadi and Saibari. Morocco have won it back, then down goes Boadi. It's a handball. He was basically gathering the ball in with his hands, assuming that he was going to get the free kick. The referee is having none of it. Uzbekistani Ilgiz Tantashev, and on that occasion Scotland get the benefit of the doubt, and we'll get
that is. Am I wrong here? That is the definition of a yellow card. You deliberately hand the ball. That's the definition of it. Why is that not? What is he doing? That is absolute nonsense.
He's been quite lenient with the potential yellow, certainly, but he's...
oh, you're so polite, Al. Sometimes you really are. You're so fair and balanced.
Ball's fed forward, looking for Tierney. It's over his head all the way through to Bono in the Moroccan goal. He's been completely untroubled, you'd have to say, in this first period by the Scots attack. The 35-year-old who plays his football in Saudi with Al Hilal.
You're talking about that there, you know, saying he's deliberately handled it, and he has. He's went to grasp it in, and you know, we're not being biased here pro Scotland or anything. Scotland are second best here by a massive distance. I'm not saying we're getting beat by a bad referee, but it is a little bit odd, and in some ways almost Scotland's best chance is to somehow hold on a little bit, and maybe the opposition will get down to 10 men if they keep on doing these stupid things.
Well, it's a foul by Riyad. He claims he won the ball there off John McGinn, but his free kick has been given. The other thing I would say, Pat, is that Morocco, I think, definitely tired in the second half against Brazil, so you have to hope that that might be the case, albeit Scots might do the same, having chased Morocco around the field for large parts of this first half.
Again, that was a really silly challenge. I mean, he just dived in there. John McGinn's going nowhere there. And if you're a fullback, show him down the line or show him out. You've got players around you, so yeah, you know, they're very, very good, Morocco. They're not perfect.
Yeah, a little bit rash in the decision-making at times as Lewis Ferguson prepares to take the free kick just a few yards in off the right touchline, midway inside the Morocco half. Swung in with the right boots, a good-looking ball right into the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a Moroccan head that gets it, takes it all the way out to the right-hand side. It'll be picked up by Hakimi, who feeds it forward. That's a little bit aimless, though, from their superstar, and picked up by the Scots just about 15 yards inside their own half. It's back with Ferguson inside the centre circle. Forward it goes on this right-hand side to McGinn, who tries to swivel away from Riyad, and then Mazraoui actually is trying to take on, and Mazraoui goes down, and on this occasion he does get the free kick after kind of minimal contact, but probably a little clip of the heels there on Mazraoui. The free kick goes Morocco's way in the last minute of the 45.
Rather hilariously, the referee said he pushed him in the back. You never touched him in the back, but he did clip his heels. So it was definitely a free kick.
Good defensive header from Saibari from that free kick. Actually, we're just seeing it back. Hanley wasn't too far away from getting on the end of it, but the man who's got the only goal of the game so far doing good work at the other end as Bono takes the free kick from outside his penalty area down the left-hand side, but it's straight out of play as we await the fourth officials board, which will indicate exactly how much will be added on at the end of this first period. Christie turns the ball back to Hanley, who in turn plays it back to Angus Gunn, who's had to pick the ball out of the net early on in this game. Otherwise, he hasn't had a massive amount to do, and Scotland will hope that continues at least till the break, and they can get themselves into the changing room and regroup and come up with a master plan for the second period. 5 minutes added on at the end of this first half. Scotland trailing by a goal to nil, scored by Ismail Saibari, and Morocco certainly good value for it.
Although I'd say the last 10-15 minutes have been by some distance Scotland's best little period, without really doing anything extra special.
Good ball from McTominay. Robertson picks up. Back into McTominay, about 25 yards from goal, left-hand side. Has to turn the ball back the way, though, to Henry, just inside the Morocco half-shot ball to Ferguson, and now it's Christie. Christie in the centre of the park. Turns it out to Patterson. Good ball. Gets it out of his feet. Early ball in. Adams can't get it. It's going to come all the way through to Robertson on the left-hand side. Early ball back into the back post. McGinn can't turn it goalwards. He was on his right foot. He was up against it angle-wise, and it's behind for a goal kick. But just as you were talking about Scotland's best period, Pat, probably their best move of the game.
Yeah, you might think that Scotland have been passive up until now. I don't think they have. They've just been outpassed. However, the Moroccans haven't kept it going to quite that level. And Scotland, that really good move there, left-hand side, typical Andy Robertson, brilliant ball in there. You've put it with pace between the centre-backs and goalkeeper. It's up to the forwards to get there. John McGinn was very, very close to getting there and at the back post. And we'll see if he Clouds has something to work with now. If he does go into half-time 1-0 down, there are little bits and pieces beginning to show now.
That's a good ball from Patterson infield for McGinn. He's got a bit of space to drive into here. Waddy trying to get back with him. McGinn out to the left-hand side. Scotland with an opportunity here, swung into the middle looking for Adams, but it was Job who got there first. Ferguson picks up, manages to get it back to Tierney. Chance now for Adams, potentially left-hand side of the box. Turns it back to Tierney. Tries to crash it goalwards, but it's well blocked. But Scotland definitely in the ascendancy just in these final moments of the first half.
Yeah, last thing we want now is that half-time whistle. Much better. Having panicked. It wasn't a great display in the first quarter of the game for Scotland, but lifted it now, and you can see it, you can feel it. It's really growing now from that Scotland team. Although I don't know what they're holding. It's holding play up to look at something.
Yeah, it's just waving Tierney on now. I think it was a quick VAR check, not sure what it was for, but
possible handball in the box.
Nothing coming of it as Tierney launches the long throw in from the left-hand side, flicked on into a dangerous area, but Mazraoui hacks it clear. Scotland looking for an equaliser, but haven't really yet managed to test Bono, but they're certainly having their best period of the game thus far in these closing stages of stoppage time here in the Boston Stadium. The Tartan Army still believing, trailing just by 1-0 with a couple of minutes of stoppage time left. But just something for Morocco to think about. Scotland aren't necessarily here just to allow them to coast to victory as it's played forward down the right-hand side. McGinn trying to spin away from his man Mazraoui, but it's gone all the way out for a throw-in to the Moroccans, who probably be quite content at this stage just to let the clock tick down towards half-time. The referee indicating, though, they need to get on with it. 5 seconds to take the throw-in. They've taken it now. Played forward, but only to Ferguson. Ferguson lifts it back in. It looked like he was caught late there. The referee didn't spot it. Morocco tries to get it clear. Then McTominay goes down again. The referee says play on. Scotland still have it. Going back the way to Hanley. Scotland fans not happy on occasion with the referee just allowing things to go. For the most part, football fans generally will welcome that on the whole, not necessarily, as I say, when it goes against your team.
You have to understand the referee's style. If that's his style, you use it. You say, okay, then we don't go down. We expect that we can actually, be a little bit more muscular against the opposition, because he'll allow that to some degree. So it's been clever with him, and we can see immediately the referee's allowing this to play. If there's a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of physicality, it's okay. Everything isn't a foul. Okay then, use it to your advantage.
Christie goes down.
Not getting that. Not getting
free
that.
kick, yeah. The theme continues, and it's picked up by El Kanous left-hand side. Can Morocco force one more opportunity late in stoppage time? They lead by a goal to 0 here in the Boston Stadium in this second group match for both sides. Morocco having drawn their opener against Brazil. Very impressive form, it has to be said, and leading here after the Scots topped the group following their victory. Narrow victory, hard-fought victory, but victory nonetheless over Haiti. Morocco just knocking the ball about, waiting for the half-time whistle to come here, and it's going to come imminently. And there it is. So
for them, it wasn't exactly a vintage performance, but they'll take the 3 points, won't they? And they move through to the next round.
Javier Aguirre, I had my doubts with this going into this game, but his game plan worked. I think this is a result that everybody wanted. We knew it was going to be a difficult match. It was ugly, even the goal. I feel like I didn't really celebrate it because I was kind of like, what just happened?
Did we just score?
Right? I was like, you just scored, and I was a little bit confused. But Luis Romo was in the right place at the right time. He didn't even play last game. He steps on the field today, starts, and again, Javier Aguirre proving that this is why he's a mastermind behind Mexico's success in these past 2 years.
What did you make, Marcelo?
Well, one, keeper punch the ball. Just punch it for me. Now, listen, sometimes you're not going to play 8 great games. You're going to have bad games. And in those bad games, can you find a way to win? Can you find a way to grunt it out and grind it and make sure you stay disciplined defensively, not give up a goal? And then mistakes are made. It's part of the game. And the South Korean goalkeeper made a mistake. And Romo was right there. And Aguirre looks like everybody was looking at him like, well done. Bottom line is it's not about the way you play sometimes in the World Cup. It's about getting a result. That result right there just put him through. One tie.
Welcome to Haaland's Bank, Revolut, where he takes gains very seriously. He earns up to 5% interest, paid daily, and withdraws anytime. Off you pop. Few more minutes in the cryo.
Now all of a sudden you win the group and you made life a little easier. You stay home, you don't have to travel. So listen, I don't question coaches because we're not in their position. That's not my job on the line. It's easy to criticize. It's easy to say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? My man has his plan, and Aguirre stuck to it. And you know what? Hard to swallow, but congratulations, because that was a great win for them.
And Janelli, as you quite rightly said, maybe it wasn't the most free-flowing performance attacking-wise, but defensively looked really solid, particularly in the last 10 or so minutes. They defended for their lives. There was that late opportunity. We have to say, if it was the South Korea goalkeeper who made a big mistake to give them the goal, Raul Rangel made an unbelievable save at the end. How on earth did he keep that out? And you should really have been a draw. That ball, you would say, would have to have gone back into the back of the net.
Yeah, Raul Rangel was, I think he's a hero right now with that double save. Initially it was a really good service from South Korea. I think the center backs lose the forward. But Rangel was on point, and that's what makes a great keeper at this level. I think he didn't have much work most of the game, but when he had to perform, when he had to participate, he did exactly what he needed to do. I think that Mexico they're going to go home really, really happy with today's performance. Again, it was an ugly performance for moments, but that's part of soccer sometimes. That's part of football. And at the end, yes, they suffered a little bit. There's things that they have to improve, definitely, especially on how being better on defending crosses, defending corner kicks. But at the end of the day, they knew how to get through those moments. And what I love the most about this Mexico side is just the commitment and the desire to defend. The desire for all of them to get back when South Korea was on a fast break. We saw Johan Vazquez as well, putting his leg on the line, his body on the line to block that shot in the final moments of the game. And that's what every Mexican fan wants to see.
It's easier to do as well when you've got the crowd behind you. It was another wonderful atmosphere, just like we saw at the Azteca for the first game, pushing this team on to keep the clean sheet at the end there and win 1-0. Is this, though, Marcelo, a legitimate tactic that they can take forward? How far can you go if you play this defensively?
No, Adam, no, please. No. This is. I think you realize things weren't going to work well. Things weren't going well. Then all of a sudden you see Alvarado drop back into the line. So I think he saw something he didn't like, and then he started changing a few things. But I don't think this is the Mexico. I don't think this is the way they wanted to play at all. I think they want to come out and play a little more offensive-minded. You can't win more games like this. You got away with it this game. You may get away with it Czechia, I don't know. But when you play the bigger teams, top 10 teams, that tactic's not going to work. And I don't think, knowing Aguirre, you know him better than I do. But that's not what I think he was planning on. I think he went with, all of a sudden, he realized he saw a few things. He tactically moved and went to a back five to cover things. I think he was waiting on maybe set pieces or maybe a counter with Quiñones. But this isn't what we're used to seeing over the last month, we'd say, month and a half, as a team that sat back, defended well. But this isn't tactics that you can keep going on and winning games against bigger teams.
I definitely agree with you. I think that for this group stage, considering the specific opponents, I think it's an okay approach. It's going to work. But I agree with you. Once Mexico is out of the group stage, they need something different, because it's win or go home.
Let me stop there. Do you think that's the way initially he wanted to play? He wanted to attack? I think he did.
So.
I think he did, because when you had 4, and then all of a sudden, for the last 20 minutes, what did we see? Alvaro dropped all the way back, and he planted 5 back there and defended until halftime. So I think he saw something he didn't like. And then he went at halftime and changed a little bit. They came out, they got their goal, and then, okay, fine. We'll go back to our back 5 and we'll defend.
Our eyebrows were raised slightly, and you mentioned it earlier on, that Romo was starting this game. He didn't feature in the first game. Were you impressed with his contribution? Obviously, he scored the goal, and I think that maybe Aguirre saw something in him that he could contribute to this game. It did work, didn't it?
I mean, honestly, I didn't see much from him on the ball or off the ball. I think that, like we mentioned before, I think Aguirre wanted to go with a very defensive-minded midfield. So from that approach, I think it was the right decision. Obviously, it worked. He got the win. But for Luis Romo's case, I think he was in the right place at the right time. And sometimes that's sometimes that's soccer. Sometimes you do nothing and you don't show up. But if you're in the right place at the right time and you put the ball in the back of the net, you're the hero. And I think that's what makes the World Cup so beautiful, that you can expect nothing from somebody, but they can completely change the game, completely change the moment for you. And now every single person in Mexico right now is loving Luis Romo.
How do you think he's going to approach the third game against Czechia? Because he's got an opportunity, if he wants to now, 2 wins locked up, they're going to finish top of the group, to rest some players. Or does he see it as an opportunity to try something a little bit different and look further ahead to tougher tests to come than we saw from South Korea today, to try a few different things? How do you think he's going to approach that third game?
And like I said, you tell me if I'm wrong. I don't see him changing. I don't see him opening up. I don't see that right now. I think it worked. You're playing at Azteca, a little higher altitude. The grass is a little thicker. The smog's a little thicker. I think he's going to stick to this, because most teams, when they go to Azteca, from example, for us going there, and other teams that have gone there, especially at the time you're playing, it's very hard to breathe. When you get into the locker room, you've got oxygen tanks because of the smog. So I don't see him changing much. The only thing maybe is sticking to what is 4-3-3 and maybe letting Alvaro go higher. I don't think Quiñones had a great game. He really didn't get involved. They threw him inside more to open the door for Sanchez and for Gallardo to attack. So I don't see much change. I think maybe just a little bit more offensive-minded, this group at home.
I definitely agree with you. I don't see Aguirre changing much, because like you said, it's working. Why change what's working? I do think Alvarado's going to have a more of an offensive role against Czechia. It's going to be a very different match. I think Mexico's definitely going to have more of the ball in the opposition's half. So it's going to be a different game in that sense. But in terms of the game plan in defending first and protecting themselves first, I don't think that's going to change. And it's working. I would love to see players highlight, like Quiñones, his qualities highlighted, Fidalgo, Raúl Jiménez on the ball more. But sometimes you win games like this. And if it's working, why change it?
From the South Korea perspective, it was a fairly disappointing performance. They did look a little bit better towards the end when they were really pushing for the equaliser. But again, I think the headline for me, apart from the mistake from the goalkeeper, was Son Heung-min not performing. Didn't play well in the first game. We said we needed to see a response from him. Didn't play particularly well in this one either. He was brought off as a substitute. Does he even play the third game for you, Cello?
Yeah, I think there's two things. One, if I play Son because of his leadership, his experience. So I don't switch much. The only thing is you almost have to let him play a little bit more freer to find instead of sitting. He just sat up high. He's not a forward, outright forward anymore. So I think when you look at his positioning, I'd like to see him be able to float just a little bit more and try to find the game. I don't think he found the game. I think the game or the long balls found him, because when you're talking about a South Korea team playing long balls and Son's the one going to chase him down, there's a problem already there. So when I see this group, I see Son playing, and if he's going to play, then you got to surround him with players that are going to help him a little bit more. And I think right now they're relying on him for a lot of things. And it's just, listen, we already talked about it. 0 goals with LAFC in MLS. He's got 9 assists, which is great. But he plays with Bawanga, a super fast guy that can spread the game. He can go over the top and he can beat you. That leaves room for Son to float underneath. That's where I think South Korea needs to go. Maybe a faster forward where he can linger underneath and connect those passes with his teammates.
I definitely think he's going to have more time and space on the ball as well in the third group match. I think today it was difficult for him with Mexico being so well organized, and he didn't really have any room to breathe. Like they were cutting off all of the passing lanes. The ball wasn't getting to him. I think against South Africa, it's going to be different. I think we're going to see hopefully a better Son.
Google Pixel Fold.
We've just watched a convincing victory in Vancouver for Canada, the co-host of the tournament. 6-0 they won against Qatar. It was a brilliant performance, particularly from Jonathan David, scoring a hat-trick for them. And other than the injury, a rather shocking injury for Kone, we'll talk about that in just a minute. Janelle, this was a perfect performance, as I said, for Canada.
It was, and we talked about it at halftime. You know, we weren't sure how Jesse Marsch was going to adjust, and I think he did everything right. The 6-0 win it's exactly what Canada needed, and you mentioned it earlier, that double threat in Larin and Jonathan David. In the World Cup, you need players that can score, and if they can do it consistently, they put Canada in an even better position going forward into the next game.
What did you think, Ian? Was this exactly what Jesse Marsch would have hoped for when he came into this game?
I think he's been a bit soured because of the injury, so I don't think his mind and his brain is probably going to celebrate this moment as much as he probably should. This is a remarkable result in World Cup. I mean, you both know, playing in a World Cup is the ultimate, the dream of every single child. It should be if it's not. It's a magical moment to be able to score goals, to be able to win games in a World Cup. To see a performance like that, obviously great commitment behind that Canada side in front of their own supporters in Vancouver. I love to see that. The way they went about it was very, very good. You're playing against a Qatar side who are poor, but you can only beat the opposition that's right in front of you. You still got to get the job done. But to see a player get a hat-trick is wonderful. I love seeing moments like that. That's what I think the World Cup is all about. I put myself always as a supporter of a World Cup, and I want to see the best players playing, scoring goals, and entertaining me. And Canada just did exactly that. I thought it was a good performance, and there's still room for improvement as well.
Jello, with Jonathan David scoring goals, Carl Larin scoring goals, Jesse Marsch fired up, maybe to prove a point to the rest of the footballing world, do you think the rest of the teams in this competition will have looked at that result and said, OK, we mustn't take Canada lightly now?
No, I don't. Listen, I don't think when you go to a World Cup, you take any team lightly. You know, ask Spain. So, but I think that everybody's always respected Canada, especially with the players they have. It's unfortunate there were 2 red cards, a broken leg, and our thoughts and prayers are with Kone there and speedy recovery for that. But when you go into a World Cup, your job is to win. That's it. Your job is to get into the next round. Doesn't matter if it's a good game, it's a bad game. The important thing is getting the 3 points, solidifying your spot in the next round. I think Canada came out when they were at full strength, and they showed who Canada was at home. They showed grit. They showed they were going to press you, repress you, and make you feel uncomfortable. They're not going to let you play. And I think that's what we were expecting from the home team. So I think they checked all the boxes today. Is there room for improvement? 100%. And their hardest mission now will be the next game, Switzerland. That will be the game everybody wants to see.
Janelli, it's been a good start from the co-hosts, hasn't it, all three? How much of an impact is playing in front of your home crowd? We've seen Canada do it there in Vancouver. It was a brilliant atmosphere, an absolutely packed stadium. They were enjoying the performance as well. But that is that 12th man, isn't it, for the team?
Yeah, I think it's everything. It's everything. Playing in front of your home crowd, your fans, your people, hearing them root for you, shout for you. It's just like you mentioned it. It's what every player lives for. It's moments like that you make all of those sacrifices for, all of the training, all of the, you miss all of the family gatherings, the parties. There's so many things that you miss out on that you have to sacrifice for moments like these. And today, Canada they were convincing. I think, yeah, you can argue that Qatar it wasn't a competitive match, but scoring 6 goals in a World Cup, having Jonathan David with a hat trick, that's something to look at. If I'm the other teams in this World Cup, I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm like, okay, Canada's they're onto something for sure.
The one dark cloud over the game, as I mentioned, was the injury, and it was a horrible injury to Ismail Kone. We're going to have to find out exactly what the diagnosis is, but it looked very serious, him getting stretchered off. Ian, though, and we saw the replay, it was a heavy challenge, but was it a red card challenge? Was that fair, or are they just looking at the result and the injury as opposed to the tackle itself?
Listen, I don't think it was even a heavy challenge. I think you call it more of a freak injury than anything else. Right? The way he made contact,
I agree.
It's almost as if he hit him on the calf.
Just swept his leg.
And yeah, it was sort of like a martial arts kick where you sweep the leg from behind. And he found the weak point in the leg, and therefore, eventually, what happened was truly horrific. Feel very sorry for the player, very sorry for his family, who obviously are going to have to go through a lot. I feel sorry for Canada. Very important player for Canada as well. Let's not forget about that. What does this do to the group now, though? Does it inspire the group? They come together? Does it hurt the group a little bit? Because you've lost a moment of quality in the middle of midfield, but also a presence. Now he's gone. So does it inspire you, or does it work against you?
I think you showed how much it inspired. Saliba scores the goal, and what does he do? He runs right over and he holds up the jersey. I think you're playing now for a teammate. An unfortunate teammate that got hurt in the biggest tournament in the world. But if he didn't walk over, you'd be okay. But he walked over on purpose. He grabbed the jersey. He's playing for his teammates. He scored that goal for his teammate. So I think this team will rally around that. Every team needs something to rally around, right? There's always something there. And we saw it with Brazil back when Neymar got hurt, right? They were holding up his jersey. I think this was a good example of how tight this team is, that the first thing he thought about was celebrating with his teammate.
And I loved Canada's reaction. It was a difficult moment. There's a lot of emotions. You're angry because you see your teammate hurting on the floor. And I think once they saw Qatar's, reaction, I think the player that committed the foul was genuinely, you could see it in his face. He felt bad. He was hurting. He was kind of like in shock himself. And Canada was able to kind of manage the emotions in the right way. Yeah, great point. Right? Because they could have taken it in a whole different route, and it could have got ugly and it could have got messy, but it didn't. Yeah. They were composed. They embraced their emotions. Yes, they were angry. Yes, they were sad. They were hurt. But then what did they do? They used that in a positive way for the next play.
Yeah, I agree with you. I will say this though. I don't.
On this near side, it is Hakimi who's getting the treatment from the Scotland fans here as he prepares to take the throw in into Wadi and then back to Hakimi right in his goal line. Hits it long up towards Saibari. The header's won though by Hendry. No changes incidentally for Morocco either. That's a slightly wayward back pass, but out comes Angus Gunn well out of his penalty area to thump it long. Headed towards the left-hand side there by Mazraoui as Scotland will win possession back, and they will be looking, Pat, obviously to almost pick up where they left off at the end of that first period and try and take the game to the Moroccans.
What was very noticeable there, and Scotland did win the ball back there, and it wasn't a panicked pass after that. It was a more controlled pass after that, and it was a ripple of applause from the turnaround as if to say, that's what we need to do. They know it, they get it. Hold possession, be comfortable in the game, and then the confidence will grow, and you can see that's exactly what they're trying to do now.
Yeah, McGinn and Christie linking up well. Really good play from the Aston Villa captain out towards the Bournemouth man, and still got it Scotland, and you can hear the Tartan Army just beginning to perhaps feel a little bit more confident, and that perhaps there could be something in this game for them as Robertson has it left-hand side. Scotland 0, Morocco 1 in the early stages of the second period here in Foxborough, about 22 miles south of Boston. As Scotland continue to knock it about at the back. It's Hanley getting it back from Ferguson. And still, Morocco don't really go full throttle with the press. It's out to the left-hand side here for Hendry, who's able to advance, and he plays it out to Robertson. Robertson with one touch and then swings it into the penalty area. Jop's in the way, and he heads out for a Scotland throw-in. And again, you can hear the Scotland fans getting behind their side because they've started the second half pretty positively. The referee is trying to tell Kieran Tierney he needs to pull his socks up, quite literally. Not happy with them rolled down to his ankles as Tierney prepares to take this throw-in. Just dry the ball off, dry his hands off, because it's still a little bit humid out there, a little bit sticky, as he tries to get as much purchase here on the ball. And it comes from the left-hand side to the near post. Blady goes up, it's over him. Shea Adams gets something on it, but it's headed out of the penalty area. But then Scotland have it back through Tierney left-hand side. He plays it into Ferguson. Ferguson going back the way into the centre circle. Christie now turning away from his man. And back it goes. A little touch there from the Moroccans as they pick up possession. Again, it's that man Brahim Diaz, so skillful, so talented, the Real Madrid player. A little 1-2 there with Saibari, and then blocked off by McGinn, but there's no foul, and it's McGinn advancing now up towards the edge of the penalty area. Not too much support with him. Shea Adams is inside the penalty. Down goes McGinn, and the referee says no. Inside the penalty area, but the referee is not having any of it. VAR will have a look. Pat, I think you shook your head there.
I didn't think it was a penalty from here, but VAR have a good look at it. We'll see it again. He's flicked it by and waited for the hit. Let's have again. Has the thigh on thigh. Now, if you're the player running with the ball and you flicked it past and the thigh hits your thigh, it will knock you off your stride. But you generally don't get penalties for it. But that's what hit Hams. It hit. And it's when you're asking people who have not played at that level to understand what happens there. I know what it feels like. You're getting past the person and they're looking for a kick. It's not a kick. It's the thigh has hit your thigh once you've gone past them. Do you know if we'd have got that? I wouldn't have. I'd just said, yeah, that's fine. Get that. But you generally don't get those ones.
No, and it's not going to be overturned by VAR either. The referee's been telling Bono he's got 5 seconds to take the goal kick for about 10 seconds, but he's not turning that into a corner as he's supposed to. But well, Scotland initially get the benefit of the doubt in the middle of the park as McGinn made the challenge, and we obviously welcome that from a Scotland point of view, but not the penalty decision. That did not go Scotland's way, and so it remains Scotland 0, Morocco 1. But Scotland maybe just feel a little sense of injustice as they try and find an equaliser. But here come Morocco looking to threaten for the first time in the second half, and it's cut back for Saibari. The deflections off the top of the bar and onto the roof of the net, and a sigh of relief breathed by the Tartan Army as El Khanous almost did the damage there going down the left-hand side. And it was a good challenge in the end, brilliant. I think, by Hanley to deflect onto the crossbar.
I'm not sure it was Hanley. I think he came across on the right-hand side. It was Hendry, maybe.
Hendry got in with the final challenge.
Yeah, he
right.
did. And it's, to be honest, he was second favourite to get that, but he put his body in the way and got there and stopped what looked like an almost certain goal there. But again, the pace of the break when they decided to go was really quite scary from the Moroccans.
Short corner taken on the left-hand side. It's back with Diaz. The right foot this time, so two-footed, flights it towards the back post, looked like it glanced off a Scotland head, and indeed the referee signals for another corner, this time on the near side.
I think that's given the Moroccans a wee fright, that. You know, the fact that Scotland might have just had a penalty kick there. You know, they've lifted it again. They start quite sluggish again in the second half. Scotland were on the front foot there. The Scotland fans are not happy with how long it's taken Hakimi to take this. In fact, they're not happy with Hakimi. Period.
Right-hand side then, Achraf Hakimi, the captain of Morocco, as the referee keeps a close eye on what's going on inside that penalty area. Here is Hakimi, right-footed, outswinger, near post header, brilliantly saved by Gunn at his near post. He was a yard or two off his line and almost cut out by the header from El Khanous at the near post, but he recovered in time to keep it out, but that was a close-run thing.
It's a great save, that, because you're absolutely right. He'd taken a step to go the other way. and you know, just got two big strong hands on it. To be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a shirt that ripped ever. I've just seen it. I'm trying to see who it was.
I know. I think it's been a man who's been told he has to go off and get a change of shirt.
Ripped to shreds. Actually, I'm watching the pool that happened there. Was it possibly John McGinn or whatever? I think the problem with a shirt.
Yeah,
I think they get better made shirts. It just came apart with. It wasn't as if he's running at pace. They were just standing beside each other. The shirt disintegrated.
Scotland 0, Morocco 1, but almost a second Morocco goal there from the El Canoes header. Gunn keeping it out. Here they come again. Barry just challenged well inside the penalty area, and it runs back to the Scotland goalkeeper, who's kept his side just a goal behind. A poor pass from Ferguson out to the right-hand side. Patterson will go and try and retrieve it. He's under pressure here. It's done well, though. To be fair, I think, well, he played it straight out of play, but I think Patterson's actually done okay.
No, I'm with you. Absolutely with you. Yeah, give the ball away there, but do you know, it's really early on in the game, Scotland looked really nervy. Now, no wonder you lost a goal after 70 seconds or something. They don't look quite so nervy in the second half. They're passing it much, much better, and certainly looking for the ball, look more comfortable. As we would say in Scotland, a wee bit more gas, a wee bit more confident. And you need to see that. At this level, you must have that belief in yourself in the ball. And I think Willie Miller was saying that at half-time. Not seeing enough of it early on. The referee's let another one go.
Yeah, I think Scotland have got that message, haven't they, that they can get a bit more physical with this Moroccan side, because they're not going to be penalised every single time.
That's the point I made in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you know it's a referee, OK, use it to your advantage. And that's what Scotland are doing, and that's good to see.
Hendry, midway inside his own half, plays it square to Hanley. Scotland were looking to win consecutive games at a major tournament for the very first time. Never won more than one in any single tournament. I think they would settle for a point if it was offered to them right this second. Not too worried about the victory. As Tierney, under pressure, knocks it back the way to Hendry, just inside his own half. We've played almost 54 minutes in this second period. Live coverage of Scotland-Morocco on BBC Radio Scotland and BBC Radio 5 Live. Brazil, Haiti to follow us on 5 Live. You'll get a bit of chat post-match here on the Scotland game before Radio Scotland joins 5 Live again for that commentary, as Morocco this time do get a free kick for the challenge made over on the far side by Ferguson.
Well, Ferguson's claiming he got the ball. To be honest, it wasn't a huge amount, and it looked from a distance as if it was quite a bad foul. Because he's jumped up in the air, then rolled over 4 times, maybe made it look a lot worse than it was. But again, not too bad a start from Scotland, getting on towards the 55th minute. And at this point in time, Stevie Clark will be thinking. His mind will be beginning to work a little bit now, and you know, you need to make some decisions. Is 1-0 enough? Scotland have done it again, won it well.
It's Ferguson who's won it, up against Boadi here on the left-hand side of the Moroccan box. Down goes Ferguson, the referee points for a goal kick. You've got to be fair to the referee. He's doing exactly the same thing for both sides. The Tartan Army are booing him just now, but it was probably no more in that challenge than there was in the one when Scotland won it.
I think the only downside is in Ferguson's getting down there, I think he's hurt his shoulder. I think he's damaged himself. Oh, he's holding his face. Yeah. That's too weird. The thing is, he's off the pitch now. The game has started. Now, we'll see if the referee allows him to come on. Oh, he has.
Scotland 0, Morocco 1, with 10 minutes gone, as Boadi offers Ferguson the hand of conciliation there. And Morocco have it at the edge of the penalty area. But I think they know they're in a game now. Perhaps they were very comfortable first half hour, you would have to say, but Scotland have come back into it, and the margin, the trail by remains just the one, conceded inside 71 seconds.
I mentioned Scotland manager Stevie Clark's brain will be whirring, and then I've just looked down, and out of the dugout come 5 players there to start warming up. And this is often the games in World Cups, you need to make lots of decisions very, very quickly. Most of them have to be good decisions. And the substitutions here are going to be massive. They're going to change the game, they're going to change the style of the game, they're going to change, you know, a lot of the players are capable of doing here. You're not getting much out of Robertson going forward, but if you start adapting it, he might be able to fly forward a little bit. And of course, we're all looking down there with the hope that Ben Gannon-Doak has recovered for that. And I'll say it was injured, it was cramp, I think, in that first game, because he could make a difference to this game.
The Moroccan fans very much adding to the colour here inside the Boston Stadium, most of them in their traditional red kit, some of that away one that they're wearing tonight, as Boadi comes forward, tries to feed it in for Hakimi, well cut out though by Robertson. Scotland have it back through McTominay, good feet from him to keep possession deep in his own half, then fed forward by Robertson. Christie couldn't latch onto it, and Morocco pick up and might be able to pick Scotland off here. It's into Diaz, will he go right, will he go left? Blocked and as he attempts the shot inside the penalty area. That's the danger part when someone is so two-footed, you just don't know which way to show him.
It's horrible, and obviously you have to get your hands by your side, which affects your balance anyway, trying to make a tackle, and Diaz knew that. He's trying everything to get round, but naturally the Scottish defending on this occasion was good enough.
The sun just about setting here in that northeast corner of the USA, where the Scotland fans have made their home for the last 10 days or so. It's been amazing to experience, hasn't it, Pat, the way the Bostonians have taken to the Scotland fans?
Yeah, it's been amazing, but ain't that always the way with Scotland when they travel? Everywhere you go, and sometimes you only go for 2 or 3 days. And as we're speaking just now, is that, I'm trying to see if that was Kieran Tierney that's gone down.
Yeah,
he's gone down, and that might just force Stevie Clarke's hand at this point in time, because I mean, Kieran has so many injuries, and watching him play for Celtic this season, you know, they managed him well. Sometimes only gave him 50, 60 minutes, then took him off because of the injuries he's had in the past. He's putting a shift out there without a shadow of a doubt, but I think that definite change is definitely going to be made by Stevie Clarke, and I think most Scotland fans watching or listening will not be disappointed by who's coming on.
No, indeed, you set that up nicely. Ben Gannon-Doak getting the final instructions from Stephen Naismith, the assistant manager. It looks like he will replace Kieran Tierney, who's been attended to just now by the Scotland medical team. But Gannon-Doak, you are about to see him come on for the closing just over half an hour. Let's see what kind of impact he can make. Electric, quick as Tierney gets back to his feet, and he'll be helped off the field of play.
Do you know the obvious thing now is if he brings on Gannon-Doak, do you keep Gannon-Doak on the left or do you put him on the right? Well, I'm watching him, he's going on the right, and I'm delighted with that. I'm absolutely delighted when you bring over John McGinn, possibly. Yeah, John McGinn will come to the left. Leanne spotted that sharp as anything as ever, and absolutely spot on. It makes absolute sense because Gannon-Doak is so much more dangerous than the right-hand side. He's had a few games for Scotland on the left, and listen to that noise from the Scotland fans. That's a sound of appreciation that they've got Gannon-Doak on. Let's hope Scotland can get the ball to him, or at least get the ball into an area he can chase.
First change of the game then. Gannon-Doak on for Tierney as Ferguson hoists it forward up towards Adams. Challenged there by Riyad, breaks the way of Morocco, and forward it goes from Mazraoui. Scotland have it back again. It's Hanley into the feet of McTominay on the halfway line with his back to goal. Just plays it back to Hendry, and now Robertson, left-hand side. No chances being taken. He rolls it to his goalkeeper, Angus Gunn. Hanley once more now, right-hand side. Thought about the longer ball forward, then he goes short to Ferguson, who squeezes it out to the right-hand side to Patterson. Back the way once more for Hanley. And into Ferguson. There's certainly more assuredness about the Scotland performance in this second half.
Just a moment there, you're looking at Ferguson in the midfield there, and he's kind of wanting the ball, but not as much as, you know, the likes of Billy Gilmore, who wants it every single time. You need to show for it there.
Here come Morocco, they picked up on the left-hand side. This is looking ominous. The ball played into the box. Hendry took up a good position once more, though he's played well in there as Scotland try to play it out from the back, but they've given it away once more. Boadi once again first to the loose ball, just always looks so composed as Mazraoui comes forward. Did he go down under the challenge here from Ben Gannon-Doak? Yes, and it is going to be a free kick just outside the penalty area, left-hand side, in a promising position this for Morocco.
Do you know what's very interesting there? Off that ball there, that felt free kick was happening, but I was watching Hakimi going forward, and he's now got McGinn to chase him. And to be honest, that's not perfect. That's not great for Scotland. You know, McGinn's not a natural defensive player. He's not naturally somebody who runs at pace and follows the player. So it might become a problem for Scotland. We shall see.
Hakimi then over this free kick on the left-hand side with the right foot, just about 20 yards from the goal line. It can't beat the first man. It's headed high in there. Morocco looking to keep the pressure on, though, at the edge of the Scotland box. It's Patterson who heads it clear this time. Breaks again for a Morocco player out on the left-hand side. Is Hakimi again. Shooting opportunity, but he can't get the whip he was looking for. And Angus Gunn sees it wide. And on 62 minutes, it's still Scotland 0, Morocco 1. The thoughts of Pat Nevin?
Not much between the two teams in this second half. They've kind of fallen off a little bit. The Moroccans, you feel as if you have got a gear or two to go through if they really need to. But you often see that with teams. If you don't keep it going, it is hard as the game goes on to go through the gears. Scotland could somehow manage to get a goal.
Hendry coming forward. He couldn't find Adams, though. And it's played forward again by the Scots. Hakimi on the back foot for once, rolls it back to Bono, his goalkeeper, who first time plays it back out to the man who is not endeared himself to the Scotland fans. Plays it back in field. Always looks like he gets so much time. That's what the good players can do, though, isn't it? They just never look flustered. Always have time and space on the ball, even when they don't really, as Mazraoui has it. Left back position. Definitely cooled off another couple of degrees. Certainly up here. I imagine it's, relatively speaking, a little bit cooler down pitch level as well, as the Scots look to press through McTominay. Back to Bono it goes. Not a brilliant ball back to Diop. Diop can't get it over McGinn. That will come to Robertson. Robertson infield to McTominay at the edge of the box. Now it's Christie. Christie goes for goal just over the top from Ryan Christie. Scotland coming close to an equaliser. Wonderful move once they picked up possession. But over the top from Christie, and it's still Scotland 0, Morocco 1.
Yeah, gets in a good position. He's always running away from it. I wonder if he kicks it. Nah, he's falling back as he hits it. He's not completely in control of it as he hits it. And if you are falling back when you kick a football, it almost always goes over the crossbar. But, well, definitely a half chance there. Scotland, the other thing not to forget, Scotland are going towards their own fans here. That always gives you a little bit of help as well. So, again, a little bit of a left, and that change, I think with Andy Robertson at left fullback, very comfortable playing there, and will run off Brahim Diaz. And by the way, has won the ball again for him.
Yeah, he has, and it's McGinn who picks up. Robertson gives him a run. That's too much in that pass, though, from McGinn. And it bounces behind. Robertson deserved better there after the initial challenge and then making the run, but McGinn overcooking the pass behind for a goal kick. The referee's telling them they need to take it quicker, but he's not really enforcing.
They know he's not going to do anything. It doesn't look as if he's going to do anything about that. They're very comfortable. Now, he's giving it now.
Well, Bono eventually takes the goal kick, maybe just in with 2 or 3 seconds left in the referee's count. Morocco looking to play out on the right-hand side, but again, McTominay steps in, who didn't quite win the ball, though. And it's Unai picking up on that right flank into El Ainaoui. But, yeah, Morocco's certainly not having it all their own way as they were for the opening half an hour of this game. But Hakimi goes down, pulled back by Robertson, was it? Referee's looking to his pocket here. It's a yellow card for Andy Robertson.
Kind of hard to argue with that. You wouldn't want to argue with that. I mean, they were close to him. He got a little bit too close. And if you get too close and you put any arms at all, any hands at all on the player, the chances are you're going to get a yellow card. Some might say that's a sensible one.
Robertson into the referee's book.
He's not done much to him, but he's put his hands on him because he's lost on, and Diaz has gone down. Referees almost always give a yellow for that.
Here's El Khanous over on the left-hand side, just outside the Scotland penalty area. Gannon Doakes with him. We haven't seen him in an attacking sense as yet since he's come on. 65 on the clock. Scotland trailing by a goal to nil as it's picked up in the midfield by El Ainaoui. And back the way it goes to Diop into the centre circle for Riyadh of Palace. Square again for Diop. He plays his football across London at Craven Cottage. Forward it goes to Boadi. Boadi then shot pass to Unai. Just a decent spell of possession this for Morocco, trying to take the sting out of Scotland, who've enjoyed a decent spell in the opening quarter of this second period. As we get confirmation on the big screens here of the yellow card shown to the Scotland skipper, Andy Robertson, who will very soon, you feel, surpass Sir Kenny Dalglish as the record appearance holder for his country What an honour that will be. There's a few better than King Kenny donned the navy blue. 102 caps he got. This is Robertson's 96th. There's Hakimi, who's on 98 now for Morocco, picks up out to the right-hand side for El Khanous, who's switched wings for the moment.
Well, the big thing just now is the control play. You look at the control play of Moroccans just now. They want to say, right, OK, Scotland, you get a bit excited there. We're just going to hold it now. We're just going to strangle you, get out of the game, out of possession.
Unai goes down.
Again, doesn't give it. I love this. I'm beginning to like this referee, even though he does make some mistakes.
It's Ferguson's challenge with Mazraoui, has to go back to his goalkeeper.
But that's the right ball, isn't it? That's straight over the top of Mazraoui there. Now, he had about 10 yards on Gannon Doak. Now, even for Gannon Doak, that's a hard task, that one. But Scotland will have to do that. And it only needs Gannon Doak to get away once on that right-hand side. He won't be caught.
Here's Unai in field, plays a little bounce pass off Diaz. Here's Diaz picking up once more, trying to find a yard of space, pokes it into the penalty area, swept up though by Patterson. He continues to impress in that right back spot, and I think that's a cue for the latest hydration break midway through this second period. Scotland still trailing by a goal to nil, but let's bring in former Scotland international Leanne Crichton once more for her overview of how the Scots have taken the game to Morocco to some extent in the second half, Leanne.
It's certainly been much better, Al, that's for sure. Much better than the opening kind of quarter of the first half. I think there's been more control about Scotland, much better in possession, but much more aggression higher up the pitch, which I've liked. And that's maybe naturally happened just because you've been in at half-time and you've been afforded that reset. They've probably been shown some analysis clips as well, where they can go and gain a bit more territory, that they can be a bit more aggressive, that they can try and hem Morocco in. And I've liked a couple of moments with Andy Robertson really being aggressive since the changes happened, with Gannon Doak coming onto the pitch and going to that right-hand side, and John McGinn being in front of Andy Robertson as well. So it's now just the use of the ball. I think there's a fair bit of activity going on down below as well. I reckon we'll see Lyndon Dykes quite shortly. And hopefully, if we're going to be a little bit more direct, which we've tried to get the ball into Shea Adams more frequently, that it will stick and we'll be able to play off that. I like having McGinn on this left-hand side now as well, because I think he will go and venture and look to try and get beyond Dykes as well, with having that real natural outlet in Gannon Doak on the far side. But we're very much in the game, and that's a really good feeling to have, because after that blistering 20 minutes in the first half, I thought it could have been lights out. But credit to Steve Clarke and the boys have managed to rally. They've composed themselves. Morocco will still carry a threat, but we spoke about that word intensity at half-time. Their intensity levels have dropped considerably, but they do still carry a real threat in the transitional moments.
We're seeing the fan cam on the massive screens to our left and right, and it's wonderful to see. You know, there's a Scotland end, there's a Morocco end, but there's very much a mixture as well throughout the stadium, and the fans are mixing brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, it does tend to happen at most World Cups. You get that. You know, there are some supporters you have to keep apart, but you never worry about Scotland supporters with anyone, do you? And I've never worried about them. They just want to make new mates. That's what they do. And these fan cams are actually, I've never been the biggest fan of them all the time, but on this occasion, they actually work well, because what you're doing is just seeing celebrations, fun, having a bit of a giggle. And because the Scotland fans are sitting there, you know, singing, enjoying, dancing, it's having exactly the same reaction. The Moroccan fans, they're thinking, yeah, we'll have a dig at that, we'll go at that, we'll join in the party. And that's what Scotland fans tend to do. They bring everybody to their party. And I'm looking down there to see that there is going to be a change. Scotland are going to make another.
Yeah, a couple of changes by the looks of it. Kenny McLean and Lyndon Dykes, as Leanne correctly called. Ryan Christie makes his way off.
Do you know, it makes really good sense. Leanne was spot on about that. I wasn't convinced that, you know, to start the game with Lyndon Dykes, but having watched this referee, he's the man. He's the man you want on there, because his physicality may well... Oh, he started already. That's hilarious there. He just walked on the pitch there, and Bouadi went up to him as if to kind of just stand in front of him. Lyndon Dykes went, "Get out of my way, kid," and pushed him away.
So it's Dykes and McLean on for Adams and Christie. Scotland look to try and get themselves back on level terms, trailing by a goal to nil. They've been behind since the second minute of the game, but they have improved the performance as it's gone on. As McTominay barges into Diaz there, that will be a free kick, regardless of the referee showing a little bit more tolerance for contact in there, but that was overly physical from McTominay, and Morocco get the free kick, which they've taken. 72 minutes on the clock as Scotland trail. Remember, it's Brazil against Haiti next up in Philadelphia. That's live coverage of that from kickoff on BBC Radio 5 Live. BBC Radio Scotland will join it, I reckon, towards the end of the first half, after a bit of analysis of this game. And then you've got Turkey against Paraguay from San Francisco at 4 o'clock kickoff, also live on BBC Radio 5 Live. And then also on the iPlayer just after this game, there's going to be again a kind of analysis show as we go over the nuts and bolts of what is going on out there. Hopefully they're discussing a positive result for Scotland, a late comeback to get something on the board, and of course that would signal almost certain progression for the very first time at a major competition. Here's Kenny McLean getting his first touch, knocks it forward to his fellow sub Lyndon Dykes on the halfway line. Gannon Doak, the other substitute that Scotland have made, then plays it back the way, and Scotland will try and build from the back once more. McTominay back into Hanley, midway inside his own half. Scotland have got 17 minutes plus stoppage time to find a leveller. Remember, if it were to stay at 1-0 Morocco, it is by no means the end of Scotland's World Cup hopes, as Gannon Doak collides with the goalkeeper. Well, they're both taking a sore one there. Gannon Doak wasn't pulling out of that, although Bono was favourite to get there first. The ball over the top. Gannon Doak and Bono just colliding at pace there, and a sore one for both players, and hopefully both able to continue.
Gannon Doak is basically, he's eyeing the ball the entire time. So keeper gets to it first, and he's trying to stop a little bit, and Gannon Doak's been wiped out as well. And it's one of those ones that, again, there are some referees that feel the need to get a yellow card out there. There's no running for the ball at the same time at full pace. One gets it with a millisecond before the other one, and happily the referee has had no action whatsoever other than the free kick, which is fine.
Yeah, it is a free kick to Morocco inside their own penalty area. Bono hasn't been overly troubled, you'd have to say, in the Morocco goal, but he had to look lively there to get there ahead of the speedy Gannon Doak. A quarter of an hour remaining of the 90 minutes. There will be a chunk of added on time, as always in these games, as Scotland look for an equaliser. It's Hendry at the back though for Hanley. There's a kind of hush almost around the stadium, a little bit of tension for both sets of supporters. You feel Morocco by no means guaranteed, and they don't want to drop any more points. I know you'd have to say it's probably a good result drawing with Brazil, but they don't want to be on 2 points at the end of this, albeit you would put your house on them to beat Haiti in the final game, especially if they needed to. Throw in Scotland, left-hand side, right in the halfway line. It's the captain, Andy Robertson. Back to Hendry it goes. Now Hanley out to the right-hand side for Gannon Doak. Then Patterson clips it forward. Dykes won't get there though. It's knocked away by Riyad. Headed forward once more. McLean, clever ball back the way to Hendry. About 20 yards inside his own half. Forward he'll come now. Kenny McLean once more, allowed to advance on the left-hand side. Ball into the feet of John McGinn. Back to McLean. Robertson tried to find him McGinn again, but Diaz was in the way, and that allows Hakimi to pick up and drive Morocco forward. They know they'll probably need another goal to be sure of the victory here. Scotland don't want to be conceding again, because, as I say, a narrow defeat is not a fatal blow to their hopes, but the more goals they concede, the more they lose by. As it's a poignant moment actually inside the Boston Stadium here, as the big screens flash up a picture of Tartan Army member Donny Strathy of Grangemouth, who very, very sadly passed away here in Boston. He had a ticket for this game As Morocco come forward here, Diaz couldn't get the ball out of his feet, and Gunn is able to clear, but unfortunately Donny Strathy passed away, and he never got to this game to see his beloved Scotland. Here comes Mazraoui, gets to the byline, stands up to the back post, but yeah, sometimes you need that perspective that football is not a matter of life and death, as the Tartan Army particularly, but the Moroccan fans as well, join in the minute's applause for Donny Strathy, who travelled to the USA in the hope of seeing his country at a World Cup, and unfortunately didn't get to do so. Our thoughts with his friends and family. Scotland have it at the back. It's 77 in, Scotland 0, Morocco 1. Live coverage here of the World Cup, once again on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland. You won't miss a kick of the ball across the BBC over this wonderful tournament as Dyke spreads it out to the right hand side for Gannon Doak. Little step over, is away from one player. Now he's up against Mazraoui because he got the beating of him, trying to get to the byline, can't get it beyond Mazraoui. He picks up again, still it's Gannon Doak, and he just couldn't bundle his way through, and Bono's able to gather. But that's exactly what you get from Gannon Doak. He's a bundle of energy, he's so dangerous.
Right, he goes past the first player lightning quick, leaves him completely for dead there, and then gets a chance to get to the byline. Now if the Moroccans didn't know beforehand, they know now. He's got pace to burn, and if Scotland can only get the ball out to him, he'll have 2-on-1 against him every time. Now that doesn't seem to matter.
Good ball from Kenny McLean through the lines for Scott McTominay, challenged by Boadi, but it's come out to Gannon Doak, right hand side, up against Mazraoui again. Let's see what he can do this time. Just rolls it back to Ferguson. Ferguson tries to take on McLean actually, but no way through on that occasion. Scotland have won it back though, good determination by Ferguson, and then Gannon Doak pokes it to Patterson. Patterson looks like he's running out of steam out there. He's put in a really good shift for 78 minutes, but not really used to playing this amount of football, as McLean feeds it out to Gannon Doak once more, up against Mazraoui yet again, turns back, tries to squeeze it through. Boadi's there to help Mazraoui, and Boadi's won it from him, and he'll come forwards. It's not only Scotland who've got a talented teenager in Gannon Doak, it's Boadi for Morocco, and forward they come, and it's Saibari into the heart of the pitch, but no teammate there ready to collect him. McGinn's done well to bring it away for Scotland, and he drives forward, and he's caught there by Hakimi, but the referee says no, you were looking for that, John McGinn, and I think he's probably right there again, the Uzbekistani. I think McGinn just left the trailing leg.
I think you're spot on there, and there's afters off the ball there. So McGinn's getting, I mean, the referee and the assistant referee should be looking at this just now. Anyway, the game goes on. What a difference it's made. Ben Gannon Doak's got the ball 3 times now, and you can feel this entire stadium changes when he gets the ball. Now, he's not at the final crossing yet, but it's kind of pushed the game completely differently, and in some ways it feels that Scotland are slightly the more likely. If you're going to get a goal from now, I haven't said that there's great quality in this Moroccan side, but at the moment, see in the last 10 minutes or so, Scotland have the better attacks down that right-hand side particularly.
64,146 is the official attendance, a full house inside the Boston Stadium, and they are being captivated by a hard-fought game here. It looked like Morocco were going to run away with it at one stage, but Scotland have dug in, they are making a real game of it for the last 10 minutes. They will go and chase an equaliser and try and make themselves legends in their own country, the first team to get through to the knockout stages of a major tournament. As Morocco though have it, and almost given away to him again, but it finds its way through to Hakimi. In steps Ferguson, and out of play as Morocco look to make their first changes of the game. Looks like Soufiane Rahimi is going to come on, and he will be joined on the field of play by Shamsdeen Talbi. Just need to try and keep an eye on
it's usually Talbi for Diaz, isn't it, and Sabani?
Yeah,
usually comes off of him. We shall see. It'll take a wee bit of time here to make that change. In fact, they're not going to make it just now.
No, not quite yet.
Not ready yet.
In fact, it looks like there's maybe going to be a third player going to come on as well. Maybe that's why they were delaying just in these final stages of the game. Morocco looking to play out. It's forward from Diop. Well, that looked like it was a free kick. The referee's done Scotland a favour. Unai went down.
I'm with the referee again in that one. Yeah. I think he's looking at it. It's a clever play, but he threw himself to the ground before the hit actually came. So, you know, I hope this continues in football. The referees aren't given the simplest free kicks just for contact.
Robertson forward, gets it back from McGinn, up towards the edge of the penalty area. Robertson into McTominay. Chance McTominay goes down. Still, referee says no free kick, no penalty. No foul on McTominay. The Tartan Howell looking for the spot kick, but it's not forthcoming, and now Morocco will come and try and finish Scotland off here. Down the left-hand side they come. The Tartan Army not happy, but McTominay not getting the penalty, and it comes, and it's cool defending by Lewis Ferguson to chase it back to Angus Gunn. Pat Nevin, your thoughts on that penalty?
Well, first of all, you know, he goes down and he's screaming for it, and he's convinced it's a penalty kick. Do you know what, Scott? See if it is, you'll get it. Don't worry. There's a reason why you'll get it. So you get up, get on with the game, and make sure we don't lose it in case it isn't given. Now, he's pretty convinced that it was a penalty kick. From this angle, again, we have to see we're a long, old way away. I wasn't completely convinced by it.
No, I'm with you on that. Well, we've got 7.5 minutes left of the 90. 3 Moroccan changes are coming. Ayoub Amaimouni is the other one who's going to come on, as well as Rahimi and Talbi, who we already mentioned. It looks like it'll be 3 changes up front as McTominay picks up in a good position again. Here's Lyndon Dykes, edge of the box, looking to get the better there of the defender, but he just didn't have the pace to get by him, and it's seen out for a goal kick there. Good defending, you'd have to say, by Riyad there, and now Morocco will make the changes as we see McTominay's penalty claim again here, Pat. Again, probably not enough in it, is there?
No, there's not a huge amount. I mean, there's contact, and I think because the two of them close to each other, he's run into him. It would have been under the soft category, shall we say?
Well, who's coming off? El Kanous is definitely making way. Saibari as well, and Brahim Diaz is the other player to come off as Talbi, Rahimi and Amaimouni come on. So a freshening up of the attack. Scotland will have to be on their toes at the back, but equally, I mean, they've looked every bit as dangerous, you would have to say, as the Moroccans in this second period.
Yeah, there's not been much in it, but I think maybe Scotland slightly shading it in the second period. Now, I think some people may say, yeah, Moroccans are doing just enough, and there is an argument they're doing just enough. But they're taking a chance there. I mean, Scotland have come into the game with a lot more confidence about the play. They're passing it well. They're comfortable at this level at the moment in time. They know what the game plan is. They're trying to get it to Ben Gannon Dope. I think Dykes, I have to say, he's made a big difference since he's come on. Really held the ball up well. Sort of, they've tried to roughhouse him. They're wasting your time there. He's just going to give you back at least double what you try and give him. So, and Kenny McLean, I think he's come on and he's been very, very comfortable on the ball.
Robertson finds Hendry on the halfway line. Hendry out to the right-hand side. Gannon Doak's the outlet again. Patterson goes beyond them, despite the fact that he's burst a gut. Now it's McTominay into the penalty area again, right-hand side. Flashes it across goal into the side netting off Riyad. Trying to find a teammate, but it's into the side netting. It'll be a Scotland corner, and the Tartan Army believe that there is an equaliser in this game for them.
Well, certainly the better the second half. They spent most of the time looking down to our left here. And without making a huge amount of chances, they have looked really good, particularly in this left-hand side, and it's... well, is this their first corner? This is Scotland's first corner. I can't remember.
It's going to be McLean to take it in from the right-hand side. The header comes in, but it's wide. Lyndon Dykes claiming there was a push in there, but either way, it's gone wide of target. It was Dykes who got there just ahead of McTominay. I wonder if he'd been better leaving it for McTominay, but it's a difficult one to pass up, and Dykes just off target, and it remains Scotland 0, Morocco 1, 5 to play.
That's a chance. That is a massive chance there. Maybe not for Dykes. The ball's, he's not going to get to her. He's slightly going backwards there, but you're spot on. McTominay's coming onto it, and suddenly Scotland have got a real head of steam up here.
Here they come once more. McTominay does brilliantly to bring that under control, but Mazraoui then nicks it off him, and Morocco have it back deep in their own territory. 86 minutes in, so Morocco go long. Gunn comes, and will gather that just at the edge of his penalty area. You can feel round about us, Pat, that the Tartan Army do feel that there could be an equaliser as Patterson's put under pressure. I wonder if Scotland are thinking about a change.
Ralston will come on for him. He's been brilliant. I have to say, Patterson's done very, very well. Hasn't been shown up against very good players here today.
A good little turn, trademark John McGinn from the left-hand side. Boadi's trying to get back at him. Still it's McGinn almost at the corner flag. Brilliant cross to the back post. Oh, and Gannon Doak's taken out by his own player there. I think McTominay trying to get on it with a hitch kick, and Gannon Doak was side down by McTominay, and the chance is gone. What a cross that was from John McGinn.
Phenomenal. Two players on him all the time there. He just muscled him off and from absolutely nowhere, right out beside the corner flag. He's put a great cross, and once again, for the second time, Scott McTominay, he's got a player in his way when he's trying to come on, but this head of steam's coming. You can feel it.
Listen to the Scotland crowd get behind their side. I'm sure the Moroccan fans are cheering as well to try and ensure that they see out the victory. It's still all to play for in these closing minutes as McTominay, who's become more and more involved in these latter stages of the second half. 87 on the clock. Scotland trailed by a goal to nil. Can they find an equaliser, which would make this team legends? Hendry plays it square, about 15 yards inside his own half to Ferguson. Out to Gannon Doak, right-hand side. Mazraoui's up against him. Makes half a challenge, but Gannon Doak gets the break of the ball. Into the box it comes. Can he get turned here? Oh, it's smothered the shot from McTominay, and it's an easy take in the end from Bono, who goes down holding his hamstring. I'm sure there's not much wrong with him here. And I think that's certainly a view shared by the Tartan Army, that Patterson is going to be changed here for Anthony Ralston, as we just see that shot being smothered. But it's good defending, you have to say, there by Riyad. Kept really close to Scott McTominay, Pat.
Yeah, and that's 3 times Scott McTominay's got himself into absolutely brilliant positions in this latter part of the game there, and each time he's just millimetres short. He's done nothing wrong. And interestingly, watching the goalkeeper Bono there, he's down. The referee's walked away and said, "Get up." Just beforehand, it was Chance McTominay was coming in at the back post. His head was higher than the defender's foot there again. I think man will do anything to go in the end of it. So Scotland have they made that change?
They made that change, and they're going to make another one. It's Ross Stewart who is going to come on for these closing moments.
Temptation.
It's going to be John McGinn to make way. So they're just going to go for it. They're going to go direct. Route one, perhaps. Whatever it takes to try and find the equalising goal, as Ralston also replaces Patterson. It's an interesting one that Hickey's not been risked. I wonder if there is a slight knock there or whatever. The Brentford man being kept in reserve for this one, as Ferguson is penalised for a challenge there. And there's going to be another change here for Morocco. It's El Mourabet coming on for Unahi in midfield for them as they look to see this one out. We're into the final minute of the 90. Can Scotland somehow find themselves a leveller, or can Morocco see this one out and move top of the group, at least until Brazil take on Haiti, live on 5 Live following this game?
And the attacking threat that Scotland have got on there, they've got Lyndon Dykes, but sure, as you mentioned there, up front beside him, you've got Gannon Doak in there, and of course Scott McTominay, he's based at centre forward as well, but will they be broken on?
Well, it's Morocco coming forward now down the left-hand side. 6 minutes of added on time have been shown by the fourth official as Morocco tried to go for a goal there, but it's blocked away on the edge of the box. 6 minutes then Scotland have to find themselves an equaliser. 6 minutes, Morocco must hold out, or if they can find a second, that would surely be enough to get them over the winning line.
They're trying to kill every second just now, aren't they, the Moroccans? You can see that. I can show you how concerned they are at this point in time, because there's none of this ultra-confident passing about little flicks. There's none of that now. They're trying to survive at this point in time. It's if only Scotland can create one more chance in these last 5 minutes or so.
It's all to play for here as Hakimi picks up right-hand side. Challenged well by Dykes in from the side. A big long leg of the Australian-born striker, and won the ball, but it's back with Bono, who'll clear. Clipped on there by the substitute Rahimi, but Scotland pick up again, but it's a wasteful ball forward, and Bono will collect once more, and he'll try and wait for as long as possible before he picks it up. Stewart closes him down on his 4th Scotland cap. What a moment it would be if he could grab an equaliser and clinch Scotland that place in the knockout phase. Robertson knocks it forward. Hakimi returns it down the right flank. It'll be picked up here by Aman Mouni, one of the substitutes. Right-hand side for Morocco. The fans around about us on tenterhooks. Aman Mouni does well. A couple of little tricks, but then he's lost it to Robertson. Dykes is there. Back from Ferguson to Robertson once more. Oh, he's done brilliantly there. Kenny McLean to turn away from a couple of challenges. Now it's McTominay out to the right-hand side. Gannon Doak will gather on the halfway line. Ralston goes ahead of him. As Gannon Doak leaves it for Ralston. Midway inside the Morocco half. Comes infield, the Celtic fullback. Back to the halfway line to Hanley. Scotland don't really have time on their side, and that's a loose pass in the middle of the park from Ferguson. Neither to one player nor the other, and Morocco will pick up and try and come forward and finish the game off. Up towards the edge of the penalty area they come. It's Rahimi on the edge of the box. Now there's the opportunity out on the left-hand side, lashed towards goal, but over the top. And it will be a Scotland goal kick. Has just failed to hit the target there from Talby. And it will remain. Well, that looks like that's a
that
save.
Should have been a corner kick. That 100% they got that right. They've got that wrong.
Scotland have got away with that one. Talby denied by a good save from Gunn, you'd have to say that was.
Which is a real shame there, because Scotland in a good position there. They just had to get the ball into Gannon Doak. They went left instead of right. Big mistake.
Here's Hakimi in an advanced area. Robertson will pick up though. Can Scotland get the ball forward? They've got 3 minutes of injury time left to play. McTominay leaving it here for Ralston. Ralston out to Gannon Doak. Just inside his own half. Back to Ralston it goes. Former Celtic teammates. Big diagonal from Ralston, looking for Robertson. Great ball, actually. Robertson gets his head to it. Dykes will chase it. Hakimi's clearance falls to Robertson. Robertson goes down. Dykes helps it into the 6-yard box. Bladdy's there to get it clear. Robertson was looking for the free kick, but the referee allowed play to continue. Picked up here by McLean. McLean goes down. The referee says play on. This time he wanted the free kick to come, but it doesn't. And Steve Clark being barged into there by the substitute Aman Mouni as he came off the field of play. Completely accidental, and a little shake of the hands between the two. As Morocco have the free kick, the referee needs to get them to hurry up here. It's supposed to be 5 seconds. They're in absolutely no hurry here.
I mean, it's the longest 5 seconds in world history. That's awful.
Just over 2 minutes to play. Scotland 0, Morocco 1. It's stood like that since the 71st second of the game. And Scotland, try as they might in this second period, haven't been able to really force Bono into a save of any great note, as Stewart nods it down, but he can't blink with Dykes. And Hakimi, well, he's just resorting to going long. Just anywhere will do for the Moroccans at this stage.
Tells you the story. Absolutely tells you the story. I have to say, getting this close to the end of the game, Scotland deserve it. Scotland deserve to get a goal here. They've not made a huge bunch of chances, but in terms of, possession, play, willingness to go forward, trying to get into the right areas, not wasting time, Scotland will be the better side in the second half on balance.
Grant Hanley goes long looking for Dykes. 1-0 by Diop, but it will fall for McTominay at the edge of the area. Closely challenged, and again he goes down, and again he doesn't get the free kick that he was looking for, and Morocco will break. And he could spring a counter here on Scotland. Hanley's back, but it's fed to Aman Mouni. Aman Mouni inside the penalty area, checks one way then the other. Left foot curler just wide. That would have finished it for Morocco in the final minute of injury time, but he just couldn't find the inside of the post, and it's still Scotland 0, Morocco 1.
That's going to happen. Scotland have put so many players forward. Morocco can break. They will get chances here. But it's all about Scotland at the moment in time, just trying to get that one chance. Now that surely is a foul. That's almost a knee in the back. But he's playing on. Honestly, you expect actually American football. He's playing these games. American.
Scotland have it again. Fed forward looking for Stewart. Stewart goes up, nods it down. Dykes is there. Oh, it's not just wide by a defender. It's a Scotland corner in the final few seconds of this game. That could have gone anywhere off Riyad, but fortunately for him, it goes wide of the goal, and it's still 1-0 Morocco.
Well, there's only seconds to go now, but what Scotland have got is they've got a lot of tall players on there. They've got Dykes, they've got McTominay, they've got Stewart on there as well as the centre-backs coming up. This is all about the quality of the ball for Scotland.
The Scotland crowd are on their feet here, willing this ball to go into the back of the net. to clinch a place in the knockout phase is going to be Lewis Ferguson from the left-hand side. Is this the moment of Scotland's destiny? The near post ball's won by a Moroccan head. Out of the penalty area it comes back in from Ralston, but he's only found a Moroccan player and he's pulled an opponent back, and it's going to be a free kick to Morocco. And is that the chance gone? Yes, it is. The referee's final whistle, I think, has sounded a bit of confusion down there. Moroccan players on the bench have all come on the pitch, and the referee says, yeah, that'll do us. It is full time in Boston. Scotland have battled away in the second half, but they could not get the goal that their play arguably deserved. A handshake down there between Steve Clarke and his opposite number, Mohamed Ouabi, and I think the Moroccan manager will feel that they were clinging on at times in that second period, albeit they didn't have chances themselves to extend their advantage. But Scotland much improved in the second half, but they could not find the equaliser to Saibari's second-minute strike, which he hammered home from a tight angle. A lot of credit to the Scots for the way they dragged themselves back into the game. And we know that a 1-0 defeat is not by any means the end of the world for them. But Pat, they just couldn't quite get the goal that would have made themselves legendary in Scotland and got them into the knockout phase.
You know, they can be proud of themselves, particularly in that second half. I mean, we go back to the fact that the first quarter of the game, Scotland were second best by a country mile. However, they brought themselves back into the game. I did question whether it was the Moroccans taking the foot off the gas, and I think you felt the same yourself. Then as it went on, and particularly as we got into the second half, I thought, actually, no, this is a pretty even game now against two teams that have not a lot between each other. By the end of the game, Scotland were the better side. Scotland were pushing it, that resilience we knew that they had, the physicality that they've got, they understood what the referee was doing, although not many other people did. And they had half chances, and they got the ball into good areas. They just needed the break of the ball. A couple of times when McTominay gets in there, you know, and the way it's gone in the past, McTominay's got there, no one's in the way, and he managed to get the ball in the back of the net. But I feel as if kind of a belief about Scotland there in that second half, after what was a very, very, very nervous start. That was lost. That's completely and utterly banished. We can't allow that to happen again, and certainly can't allow it to happen against Brazil.
Well, 28 years ago, Morocco stunned Scotland, beating them by 3 goals.